On his deathbed, my husband was prepared to leave all his assets to his cherished first love, Qingma. You've always been frugal and won't need much money in the future. But Yavi is different. She has always required the finest things in life. Without money, she wouldn't be able to live out her days with grace and elegance. If it weren't for your meddling back then, I would have married her instead. This is not just my debt to her, but yours as well. If you feel even a shred of remorse, you should join me in protecting her youthful dreams. With his last breath, he uttered resentfully, if there is a next life, I wish it could be me who spends a lifetime with Yahweh. I would cherish her forever. From start to finish, he never said a single word to me beyond telling me to give up the inheritance. I keep thinking, if I hadn't missed that exam to save him back then, I would have definitely become a great painter. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day he drove his luxury car to the school gate to confess his feelings to Jiang Yahweh. I sat in the examination hall, gripping my pen, and effortlessly wrote the answers on the paper. Shen Jingxian is about to get into a car accident, but that has nothing to do with me anymore. After the exam, I walked outside the school gate and, sure enough, didn't see Shen Jingshuan's extravagant confession scene. My parents walked up to me holding a bouquet of flowers and asked with concern, "Sweetie, how did your exam go this morning? Were you nervous?" In my past life, not taking the college entrance exam was my lifelong regret, so, as soon as the exam ended, I looked up that year's test questions and the perfect score answer sheets. After being reborn, with my photographic memory, I could breeze through the questions on the test paper, so I was very confident. Trying to keep the surprise, I said nonchalantly, I think I did pretty well, but the results aren't out yet, so I don't know for sure. After saying that, I casually asked, Mom, Dad, where's Jingxian? Wasn't he supposed to come bring flowers for his girlfriend? Why isn't he here? My parents hesitated for a moment and sighed, we didn't want to tell you, afraid it would affect your exams. Jingxian was in a car accident this morning and is in the hospital undergoing emergency treatment. Oh, that's a shame. I'd go see him at the hospital if I didn't have my exams. After hearing this, my reaction was remarkably subdued. I urged my parents to take me home. First, in his previous life, Shen Jingxian, wanting to surprise Jiang Yahweh, deliberately took the family sports car to confess to her at the school gate, but an accident occurred that day. Upon hearing the news, I found Shen Jingxian immediately and took him to the hospital, which caused me to miss the afternoon exam. Yet, even so, Shen Jingxian remained ungrateful. He carried a torch for Jiang Yahweh his whole life, and on his deathbed, he left his entire estate to her. This time, it wasn't until after I finished my exams in the afternoon that I arrived at Shen Jingshuan's hospital with my parents, right on schedule. We arrived just as the surgery ended, and a group of doctors and nurses were walking out of the operating room. His life was saved, but he has a high-level paraplegia in his lower body. It would be best to get him a wheelchair for his future mobility. As soon as the words were spoken, Aunt Shen collapsed to the floor, weeping with a heart-wrenching intensity. Uncle Shen, his face etched with despair, mustered his strength to help her up. My father, who had watched Shen Jingxian grow up, lamented with a sigh, he was just a year away from the college entrance exams. How could something like this happen now? My mother quietly pulled him back from behind when Shen Jingxian was wheeled out. He was only half conscious. I alone stood there, staring blankly at this familiar scene, and it finally hit me. I had truly been reborn. In his previous life. Shen Jingxian, in his pursuit of Jiang Yahweh, had planned a grand gesture. He was ready to pull up in a luxury car and confess his feelings to her in front of everyone the moment she exited the exam hall. Tragically, on the way here, he crashed into a large truck while speeding. Before his consciousness faded for the last time, he called me. Upon hearing the news, I rushed out of the exam hall, abandoning my test, to get him to the hospital for treatment. Leaving the exam without a valid reason meant my qualification for the test was revoked. Because of this, I wanted to repeat a year of school. But then Shen Jingxian suddenly confessed his feelings to me. Qingma, if it weren't for you, I would have died in that car accident. Just being alive is enough for me. But you missed the exam because of me. I feel terrible about it. I waited quietly for what came next, but then he suddenly changed the subject. You've had a crush on me all along, haven't you? I want to marry you. I was blind before, failing to see that the one who loved me most was right by my side. My eyes widened, and I asked instinctively, isn't it Jiang Yahweh you like? Shen Jingshuan's expression was placid, revealing nothing of his true thoughts. There's no future for her and me. The fact that Jiang Yahweh still hadn't shown up by now was proof enough that she didn't really care that much about Shen Jingxian. Back then, I was young and naive. Just a few sweet words from Shen Jingxian were enough to make me abandon my lifelong dream of becoming a painter. For decades, I constantly tried to cheer him up, taking him to see distant mountains and rivers, and learning all sorts of massage techniques, and all he had to do was open his mouth, and I'd run around doing his every bidding. He said the house lacked an artistic vibe. I immediately contacted the best interior designer in the country and had the house completely remodeled to his exact specifications. He didn't like having pets, so I gave away the dog I'd had for many years. He said he only liked the food I cooked, so I made a point of trying out a few new recipes every week to keep him happy under my careful care. One day, feeling suddenly returned to his legs, I was even happier than he was, supporting him as we went everywhere to exercise. He finally stood up on his own 2 feet. He then began to figure out how to pursue his dream, and I fully supported him. In front of the whole family, he said I was the person he was most grateful to in his life. But as his career grew larger and larger, he suddenly remembered he wanted to make up for the regrets of his youth. Before the company's annual gala, his assistant reported to him, "Mr. Shen, the Ms. Jiang you wish to invite is now a nationally ranked dancer. Her fee may be on the higher side." Shen Jingxian, however, said, "Hire her, spare no expense." The assistant paused, still hesitant. "Mr. Shen, should we inform madam about this?" Shen Jingxian swung his golf club leisurely and said offhandedly, "Is there any need to tell her? Once Jiang Yawei arrives, she'll see for herself." That day, I was accompanying a lady to discuss business at the golf course when I happened to overhear those words. Only then did I realize that despite Shen Jingshuan's words of gratitude towards me, his heart still clung to this old flame. But not long after, Shen Jingxian suddenly developed a persistent high fever that lasted a month, and the hospital issued a critical condition notice. Even on his deathbed, he couldn't forget Jiang Yawei, and he transferred all his company shares into her name. He even secretly transferred the assets we owned together to Jiang Yawei, using the excuse of buying a house for his parents. When I found out and confronted him, he mumbled in a daze, "Qingma, please grant me this one last wish. Yawei isn't like you. You can cook, handle chores, you're capable at everything, but she has devoted her whole life to dance. She knows nothing else. Without money, she wouldn't be able to survive, and back then, if it weren't for that car accident, I would never have married you. You've already monopolized my entire life. What more could you possibly want? If there is a next life, even if I were crippled, I would never let go of her hand again." These words struck my heart like a sledgehammer. After he died, I smashed his photos, his wheelchair, and everything that made me feel humiliated, too. This time, Uncle Shen and Auntie Shen were once again wailing as if their hearts were breaking, but I remained unmoved. Didn't that girl already agree to be Jingshuan's girlfriend? How come she hasn't shown up even once since then? I heard that girl bought a plane ticket and went on a trip as soon as she got the news about Jingxian, just to avoid taking any responsibility. My dad sighed as he listened nearby. Seems Jingshuan's judgment wasn't great. I mean, how could she have the heart to go on vacation after something so serious happened? As the catalyst for Shen Jingshuan's car accident, Jiang Yawei's actions were truly outrageous. The Shen elders were seething with rage, directing all their grief over their son's crippling injury squarely at Jiang Yawei. "Let's go find her. If it weren't for her, our son wouldn't be in this state. If only she had come to see Jingxian just once, we wouldn't blame her." They intended to find Jiang Yawei's contact information immediately to get to the bottom of this, but Shen Jingxian seemed to have heard the commotion and said urgently, "It's not Jiang Yawei's fault. I don't blame her. I don't blame her at all." When I entered the hospital room and saw Shen Jingxian completely swathed in bandages, I wasn't surprised. He could still speak, but his voice was faint and weak due to the delayed medical treatment. He had been trapped in the car for over an hour longer than in his previous life, so the situation is far worse than in his past life. The doctor said there's little chance he'll ever walk again. Aunt Shen was crying uncontrollably. "Son, you focus on recovering. With your mom and dad here, you won't be mistreated." Shen Jingxian, completely unaware of the severity of his condition, said nonchalantly, "It's fine, Mom. What could I possibly be upset about? Once my leg heals up in a bit, I'll bring your future daughter-in-law home to meet you." After saying that, he tried to sit up, only to find he couldn't muster any strength in his lower body. He tried moving a few more times and finally realized something was wrong. "Why can't I feel my legs? Is it because of the recent surgery?" Aunt Shen's nose stung with emotion, and she turned her head away. Shen Jingxian grew anxious. "Dad, what on earth is going on?" Father Shen also lowered his head in sorrow. A nurse happened to be passing by in the corridor, and Shen Jingxian called out to her loudly, "You tell me, what's wrong with my leg?" Dragged into the bizarre atmosphere, the nurse hadn't even spoken before Shen Jingxian flew into a rage on his own. "Am I crippled?" He struggled to move his leg, trying Over and over I watched him without a shred of sympathy. Instead, I walked up and twisted the knife. Jingxian, get some rest. The doctor says your legs are paralyzed. Jingxian stared at his own legs in disbelief. He looked just like a marionette with its strings cut. Seeing her son like this, Shen couldn't help but rush over and hold him tight. Uncle Shen said through gritted teeth, Jingxian, don't even mention that woman. The fact that she hasn't come to see you yet proves you mean nothing to her. If it weren't for her, you wouldn't have gotten into this car accident. How can she just go on a vacation with a clear conscience? As soon as the words were spoken, Jingxian hurriedly clarified, it has nothing to do with Yahweh, she doesn't know anything. I went in secret to surprise her. I smiled silently. Of course it was Jiang Yahweh if she hadn't watched too many dramas and made a fuss, demanding that Jingxian give her so-called face, we wouldn't be in this mess. Yet I, an outsider, gave my all for half a lifetime, only to be framed and trapped by a car accident that ruined his life. He also said that even if he were crippled, he would never let go of Jiang Yahweh's hand. A love like that truly touches the soul reborn. How could I possibly not grant him his wish? I'll pursue my dreams. He'll remain a cripple. Everyone's happy. 3. Unlike my past life, I didn't stay by Jingxuan's side day and night out of worry, but the next day, my dad told me that Aunt Shen had fainted. Uncle Shen was stretched too thin. If he took care of Aunt Shen, he couldn't look after Jingxian. I also heard that Jingxian was on the verge of a breakdown and wouldn't listen to anyone. Uncle Shen's idea was to ask me to look after Jingxian for a couple of days. After all, we're the same age, so I might be able to get through to him, but it wasn't me Jingxian wanted to see. A flicker of disappointment was plain on his face when he saw me approach. After I sat down, I opened up a match 3 puzzle game on my phone. I was only visiting Jingxian out of respect for his father, Uncle Shen. If he wasn't going to appreciate the gesture, I'd just go through the motions and be done with it. Seeing that I wasn't saying a word, just like a child throwing a tantrum, he suddenly smashed the medicine bottle on the table. When the nurse rushed over, she said with concern, if you keep refusing the 4 drip, your wound will get infected. As she spoke, the nurse cleaned up the broken pieces from the floor and brought over a new bottle of medicine. Just as they were about to administer the injection, Jingxian started acting up again. Get away from me. The strength in his upper body was immense. He shoved the young nurse, causing her to stumble and nearly drop the medicine tray. I put down my phone and slapped him across the face. Jingxian, I know you're angry, but why take it out on a nurse? I know exactly what he's upset about, because he can't get in touch with Jiang Yahweh anymore. It was the same in my past life. After Jingxian got into trouble, Jiang Yahweh just went into hiding. After asking around extensively, I finally tracked her down and got her to come to the hospital. Only after seeing her did Jingxian agree to cooperate with the treatment, but this time, without me to smooth things over. Who knows where Jiang Yahweh is off gallivanting. Poor nurse, already having a rough day at work, had to keep her temper in check while dealing with this high-maintenance patient. After I slapped Jingxian into a daze, he didn't calm down. Instead, he escalated his behavior. Get out, all of you, get out. What's the point in treating a useless person like me? I rolled my eyes and said impatiently, if you don't want treatment anymore, I'll call Uncle Shen to arrange your discharge. Why take it out on the nurse? Jingxian fell silent. The nurse successfully inserted the 4 and hurried off. She didn't even bother to glance back at Jingxian as she left. Jingxian glared at me with fierce intensity. Su Qingma, what gives you the right to hit me? Even you look down on me now, this useless wreck. Watching his hysterical outburst, a faint, mocking smile curled at the corner of my lips. You brought this on yourself. Your mother fainted because of you. Your father not only has to take care of her, but also handle the company's affairs. And here you are, making a scene and carrying on. But let me tell you, Jiang Yahweh is off somewhere enjoying herself right now. She's not going to come see you just because you're upset. Seeing that I had glimpsed his true feelings, Jingxian snapped in a mix of anger and embarrassment. Yahweh must have gone back to her hometown after the exams. That's why she can't be reached. Don't talk nonsense. I picked up my phone. Just 2 minutes ago, Jiang Yahweh had posted an update on social media. I held the photo right in front of him and sneered. Is her hometown in the Maldives? Jingxian stared at the photo expressionlessly, but under the covers, his fingertips were clenched so tight they turned white. When I came back upstairs after breakfast, he was already dutifully hooked up to the 4 for the anti-inflammatory drip. In my past life, afraid of hurting his feelings, I'd always humored him, saying Jiang Yahweh must have been busy and that's why she missed his call. During that period, I took good care of Jingxian. I bought him meals morning and night, helped him wash up, and coaxed him into taking his medicine. Now the truth is staring us right in the face. He doesn't have time for melodrama either. does he? As for Jiang Yaowei, she's returning to the country tomorrow. After some thought, I decided to reach out to her for the following afternoon. Under my persuasion, Jiang Yaowei, we finally arrived at the hospital. Shen Jingxian had no prior knowledge, so before Jiang Yaowei arrived, he had been looking utterly miserable. Upon seeing Jiang Yaowei, his voice trembled with emotion. Yaowei, you're here, I knew you'd come to see me. Come on, sit down and take a rest. Everyone knows that when you visit a patient, you should at least bring some fruit. But Jiang Yaowei arrived empty-handed and wore a reluctant expression even before entering the ward. Yet, Shen Jingxian was inexplicably moved to tears. Su Qingma, go turn on the air conditioner, quick. I ignored him. I walked out of the hospital room, giving them a chance to be alone. In my past life, I dropped out of school to take care of Shen Jingxian day and night. Not only did he fail to see my sacrifices, but he also mocked me, saying he only ended up in this marriage because of the car accident. As expected, Shen Jingxian never held back in showing his true feelings to the one he loved, but Jiang Yaowei was not necessarily receptive. She stood at a distance and spoke coldly. Shen Jingxian, I have something to say to you. I'll leave right after. Shen Jingxian froze. Yaowei, go ahead, I'm listening. Jiang Yaowei got straight to the point. Shen Jingxian, regarding your car accident, many people suspect I'm involved. You're the one who started these rumors, aren't you? How shameless can you be, smearing my name just to get a chance to see me? On the day of your accident, you were the one who stole your family's car to show off outside of school. How did it end up being all my fault? Let me make this clear, this has nothing to do with me. It's all your own wishful thinking, and I won't take any responsibility for it. Shen Jingxuan's joy froze on his face, instantly replaced by stunned disbelief. He hurriedly explained, Yaowei, you've misunderstood me. I never said this had anything to do with you. You don't need to do anything for me. Just seeing you makes me happy. Jiang Yaowei sneered coldly. Shen Jingxian, you're such a hypocrite. Why are you putting on an act in front of me? Now the whole school is calling me heartless and ungrateful. Are you satisfied? I told you I was already interested in someone else, but you kept pushing. Now that there's trouble, you want me to take the blame. I'm so sick of you. The very sight of you makes me sick. After saying this, Jiang Yaowei shot Shen Jingxian a fierce glare and left the hospital room. Shen Jingxian watched her leave, then dragged himself up, wanting to follow and explain. He tumbled out of bed with a thud, dragging his feeble legs. He cried out Jiang Yaowei's name, but the person ahead never once stopped to look back at him. When I entered, I saw a flicker of lifelessness pass through Shen Jingxuan's eyes. I reminded him, I'm leaving this afternoon. Remember to ask Uncle Shen to find you a caregiver. Also, Aunt Shen still hasn't woken up. Whatever you do, don't cause him any trouble right now. I don't know if he took it in, but I saw his hand covered in blood from where the 4 needle had come loose. I kindly called a nurse over for him. However, that very night, I heard his leg wound had reopened and required another round of stitches. 5. I stopped concerning myself with Shen Jingxuan's affairs. Now, I'm just waiting for my exam results so I can attend my dream school. With nothing better to do, I called up my girlfriends to go shopping, then signed myself up for a few fun tours to get away and clear my head. But just before I was about to leave, Aunt Shen suddenly gave me a call. She pleaded with me right from the start to go and check on Shen Jingxian. Qingma, you have to come and talk some sense into Jingxian. He hasn't eaten for a week now, and I'm afraid he's having serious suicidal thoughts, I said with a troubled expression. Auntie, I don't know what to do either. Jiang Yaowei has a new boyfriend. Jingxian must have found out about it before he did this to himself. Upon hearing my words, my parents, frantic with worry, grabbed me and insisted we go to the hospital immediately. Qingma, your Uncle Shen and Aunt Shen are already in poor health. Please do your best to talk some sense into Jingxian. If anything happens to him, the old Shens won't be able to go on living either. My parents don't know about the grudges from our past lives, so, purely out of friendship, we can't just stand by and watch the Shen family meet with disaster. When we arrived, Aunt Shen and Uncle Shen rushed to greet us as if we were their saviors. After just a week apart, they had sprouted many more white hairs and looked utterly aged. As for Shen Jingxian, he was curled up in the hospital bed, staring blankly at the ceiling. His entire being exuded a faint aura of death. If he really wanted to end it all, he could have just jumped off the hospital roof and been done with it, but instead, he had to go on a hunger strike and refuse to let anyone near him. Pure torture for everyone else. It's heartbreaking to see Aunt Shen and Uncle Shen, at their age, still having to worry about him like this. I could tell he wasn't in the mood to talk, so I stayed quiet, just snapped a picture of him in that state and sent it to Jiang Yaowei. After all, Jiang Yaowei is his only solace. Her presence means more than all of us combined. The only reason I helped him was out of pity, fearing that Aunt Shen and her husband couldn't bear the devastating blow of losing their son in their middle age. Besides, compared to death, I'd rather see Shen Jingxian live, even if it's a hopeless existence. Then he can come to terms with being disabled and realize that in Jiang Yaowei's eyes, he's nothing but a disposable backup. His parents pleaded with him earnestly. Jingxian, think of your parents. What would they do if they lost you? Shen Jingxian remained motionless, like a pool of stagnant water. Uncle and Aunt Shen were beside themselves with worry. I had no choice but to send another text to Jiang Yaowei. If you don't come, I'll pin Shen Jingshuan's death entirely on you. Soon, everyone will know you're the one who killed him. After sending the message, I offered a few token words of advice. You're only in your 20s, you shouldn't throw away your entire future over a temporary setback. Uncle Shen and Aunt Shen won't care if you're paralyzed. You can get better, go home with them, and finish your studies. A flicker of focus finally returned to Shen Jingshuan's eyes. But I'm crippled. I'll never walk again. Even Yaowei looks down on me now. There's no chance for us anymore, I said with forced patience. Can you put aside that love-struck mindset for a moment and look at your parents? See how many gray hairs have grown on their heads because of you. If you choose to end your life over Jiang Yaowei, that would be incredibly selfish. Shen Jingxian let out a bitter laugh and shot me a cold glance. It's easy for you to say that. You're healthy, about to start university, everything's going your way, but me, I'll never drive again. I'm stuck in this wheelchair for the rest of my life. After saying this, he turned his head away, a picture of utter despair. He even reached for the breathing mask on his face, as if to tear it off. At the critical moment, Jiang Yaowei arrived. Shen Jingxian, stop. Shen Jingxian immediately halted his actions. Jiang Yaowei stepped into the hospital room, calling out to stop him. Shen Jingxian, you have to stop hurting yourself. Alright, you win, I give up. Just promise me you'll eat properly and take care of yourself, and I'll be your girlfriend. The lifeless emptiness in Shen Jingshuan's eyes vanished in an instant. Then, still unable to believe it, he said, Yan, don't you already have a boyfriend? Jiang Yan hastily made up an excuse. I was lying to you. I've never had a boyfriend. I just didn't want you to keep holding on to me. After all, we're from different worlds. I'm not good enough for you. Now I understand. I can't live without you. Jiang Yaowei's words rekindled Shen Jingshuan's will to live. He began eating properly again and cooperating with the doctor's treatment. A smile also returned to his face. Aunt Shen and Uncle Shen breathed a sigh of relief. My parents were happy for them too. That's wonderful. It turns out we were wrong about this girl. With her here, Jingxian is sure to recover quickly. Were we wrong? Everyone was swept up in the joy of Shen Jingshuan's rebirth, but I didn't share their sentiment. I saw the flicker of disgust in Jiang Yaowei's eyes as she turned away, and the venomous post she made on her social media. That's when I knew Shen Jingshuan's time living in his carefully constructed fantasy wouldn't last long. 6. I've stopped paying attention to Shen Jingshuan's affairs, though my parents still visit him at the hospital occasionally, and they'll sometimes update me on how he's doing. They say that since Jiang Yaowei arrived, Shen Jingxian has visibly become much happier. He's been actively following his treatment every day and has even started seriously planning a future with Jiang Yaowei. Jingxian has thrown himself heart and soul into this girl, but I just can't shake the feeling that it's not right. What if she changes her mind later? Jingxian will be the one who gets hurt. I was too wrapped up in my own joy about the journey ahead to care whether Shen Jingxian got hurt or not. Mom, this was Shen Jingshuan's own choice. Whatever happens in the future has nothing to do with us. My mother was taken aback. Qingma, haven't you and Jingxian always been close? But these past few days, I've noticed you seem to have grown distant from him. There was no way I could tell her I had been reborn, so I casually made up an excuse. Mom, it's not that I'm avoiding him, it's that Shen Jingxian told me himself he didn't want me getting too close. Besides, I don't want to meddle in other people's karma. Shen Jingxian hurt me this deeply. He deserves to take the fall for this. Seeing my indifferent expression, my mother tacitly dropped the subject. Early the next morning, Aunt Shen and Uncle Shen paid a surprise visit. I was going to catch a flight right after breakfast. Spotting the luggage by the door, they asked in astonishment, Qingma, where are you off to? My mother quickly answered for me. The college entrance exams are over, so she's going out to relax a bit. Aunt Shen's nose tingled with emotion, and her expression became somewhat awkward. Just as I was leaving, she suddenly said to me, Qingma, Jingxian is blind to your virtues. Remember to keep in touch with me when you're at university. I'm so happy for you that you can study the major you love. I smiled, not letting my dislike for Shen Jingxian color my feelings towards the elderly couple. In my past life, even though Shen Jingxian was a scoundrel, Aunt Shen and Uncle Shen treated me like their own daughter. Back then, with me around, their lives were at least a little easier. But in this life, Given the temperaments of Shen Jingxian and Jiang Yaowei, the Shen family is bound to run into trouble sooner or later. Looking at them, my feelings were complicated, and I could only say in a placating tone, Jingxian and Jiang Yaowei are doing just fine as they are now. Uncle and Auntie, you should try to worry less from now on and take good care of your own health. I don't know if Shen Jingxian will ever walk again in this lifetime, but these two poor elderly folks are destined to suffer. Auntie Shen couldn't hide the weariness between her brows. Jingxian has changed completely. Now he insists on having Jiang Yaowei by his side for everything, even though she's always been such a social butterfly. The moment she steps out, he gets upset. He refuses to eat or take his medicine, punishing himself like this. We see it all, but nothing we try or say gets through to him. All we can do is watch over him every day, terrified he might do something drastic in a moment of despair. Qingma, tell me, is love really that important? I've given Aunt Shen's words some serious thought, and they're probably quite important for Jiang Yaowei's sake. Shen Jingxian was willing to sacrifice his reputation and leave his entire inheritance to her without a second thought. Haven't I, too, willingly given up my own dreams for his sake? But blindly chasing after love will inevitably lead to heartache. I had a wonderfully relaxing week. For someone who loves painting, constantly broadening your horizons to find inspiration is the most important thing during this time. Remarkably, I didn't think of Shen Jingxian even once. When I returned home 2 weeks later, my father told me Shen Jingxian was getting married. Before I came back, he and Jiang Yaowei had already held their engagement ceremony, and they were both present. As he said this, he kept sighing. I was puzzled. Getting married right away, isn't that a good thing? Mom said angrily. It's just a transaction. That Jiang Yaowei demanded 5 million in bride price from your Aunt Shen and her family right off the bat. Her parents are even more outrageous. They actually demanded that your Aunt Shen's family buy an apartment and a car for Jiang Yaowei's brother before they'd agree to let their daughter marry Jingxian. At first, Aunt Shen objected. They even mocked Jingxian for being a cripple, saying Jiang Yaowei would be getting the short end of the stick by marrying him. That family is a den of wolves. But there was no getting around the fact that Jingxian couldn't live without Jiang Yaowei. Aunt Shen, fiercely protective of her son, must have kept all this from Shen Jingxian. I had a feeling this would happen, so it wasn't really a surprise. 3 days later, the college entrance exam results were released. My score was only 20 points shy of a perfect mark. My parents' initial anxiety was instantly replaced by joyful surprise. They promptly posted on social media to invite friends and family to my college acceptance celebration. I wanted to keep things low-key, but Mom said that after all these years of hard work, I finally made it. Of course we should celebrate properly in the end. I didn't say anything. It's just that, faced with such immense joy, it all felt a bit unreal. In my past life, after Shen Jingxian stood up, he became noticeably colder towards me. He became completely absorbed in Jiang Yaowei, and there happened to be a painting competition at the time. The winner will have the opportunity to attend the best painting class in the country for further study. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. But when I brought up the idea, a flicker of impatience crossed Shen Jingxuan's eyes. Disapproving of my idea, he scoffed. Look at you now, with a face full of wrinkles, still trying to compete with fresh college graduates for a job. Besides, you're going out there as Mrs. Shen. If you make a complete mess of your painting, wouldn't that embarrass me? Suppressing my anger, I said coldly, I've spent my whole life taking care of you, and that's why I had to put my own dreams on hold. Now that your leg has healed, you started looking down on me. Shen Jingxian, how did I not see it before? You're such an ungrateful wretch. I grew more and more agitated as I spoke. If it weren't for you, I would have definitely become a painter, one who has already cast aside their crutches, the last person to bring up their own checkered past. A fierce, unconcealable hostility burned in his eyes. Don't you dare say it's because of me. You did all this of your own free will. If you were truly that capable, why would you give up a bright future just to take care of a cripple like me? It's just that you know you can't pass the exam, so you're using me as an excuse to shirk your responsibilities. That time, it dawned on me that all my efforts had been nothing but a joke in Shen Jingxuan's eyes. Perhaps a grand, showy celebration wouldn't be such a bad idea. That way, the news would quickly reach Shen Jingxuan's ears. The next day, I accompanied my parents to visit Aunt Shen and her family. Shen Jingxian and Jiang Yaowei were also there. He was aloof with everyone, only showing a hint of a smile when speaking to Jiang Yaowei. My parents were worried that my college entrance exam score might upset Shen Jingxian, so they never brought it up. It wasn't until the older generation got together to chat I walked over to where Shen Jingxian and the others were and asked, Shen Jingxian, my college acceptance celebration is in a few days. Will you be coming? Shen Jingxian was momentarily stunned, and Jiang Yaowei asked on his behalf, what score did you get? And you're actually throwing a celebration party for it, Shen Jingshuan's expression tightened slightly, as if he too was waiting for the answer. A glint flashed in my eyes as I said with a smile, I was only 20 points away from a perfect score, and those 20 points I missed, I got them wrong on purpose. A smile hung on Shen Jingshuan's face, but his eyes were filled with utter dejection. After offering her congratulations, Jiang Yue couldn't wait to boast, I got into my dream university too. After the summer break, I'll be heading there to enroll. The moment she finished speaking, the strained smile on Shen Jingshuan's face instantly crumbled. Everyone else was setting off for their next destination, chasing their dreams, while he, paralyzed from the waist down, remained trapped at home. Besides, Jiang Yue and he were only bound together by mutual benefit. Could a relationship like that really last? On the day of the college celebration banquet, I put on the dress my mother had specially tailored for me and arrived at the venue early in the morning. Shen Jingxian came too, but I didn't have time to attend to him. After he arrived, he found a corner and sat by himself, as the last few childhood friends called everyone over for a group photo. Only Shen Jingxian remained sitting there, never joining the group. Someone yelled at him, Jingxian, what's wrong with you? Hurry up and get over here for the big picture. Qingma got into university and is leaving soon. Why don't you come over and talk to her more? A hint of embarrassment flickered across Shen Jingshuan's face. The platform was too high. There was simply no way for him to get up there in his wheelchair. Besides, he had become quite withdrawn lately and felt out of place with the group. Two childhood friends went over and hoisted him right onto the stage, but once up there, everyone scrambled for their spots, and Shen Jingxian got shoved to the very edge. When the photo came out, everyone was beaming with laughter, only he stared coldly into the lens, his expression blank, lost in thought. Then, on one occasion, Shen Jingxian actually showed up at my door. I was taken aback. Lowering my head to look at him with a complicated expression, he managed a strained smile. Qingma, I bet you never expected to see me here. Can I talk to you for a moment? I frowned. Just as my parents happened to return from outside, they immediately welcomed him inside with great warmth. Qingma, have a good chat with Jingxian. It's been a while since he last visited. When you were kids, you two were practically inseparable. I paused for a moment, then steered Shen Jingxian toward the back garden. I figured there were some things he probably didn't want to say in front of our parents. As we walked, Shen Jingxian kept looking around, a wave of nostalgia seeming to wash over him. Qingma, I haven't congratulated you yet on getting into university. I gave a faint, non-committal hum. Then I heard him say, I'm really surprised you scored so high. It's a shame I'll never have a chance like that again. Let's add each other back on WeChat. We can keep in touch once you're over there. When he pushed his WeChat QR code over, I declined. It's okay, our parents are close, we'll see each other naturally when we're back for the holidays. Feeling a bit warm from the sun, I spoke up, the sun's too strong, let's talk back inside. Shen Jingshuan's eyes dimmed. I hadn't planned on asking for his opinion anyway. He said nothing. I walked on ahead by myself. After walking quite a distance, I heard a loud thud from behind. I turned back to see that Shen Jingxian had lost his footing on the turn and tumbled into the bushes by the side. His eyes met mine. He turned his head away with effort, speaking with stubborn defiance and quiet endurance. It's nothing. I just slipped. I can get up myself. I turned away and walked home ahead of him. 9. On the first day of school, my mom and dad saw me off at the high-speed rail station. There, I happened to run into Jiang Yue, and Shen Jingxian was there too. He was really worried and was giving Jiang Yue some instructions. Let me know when you get there. Call me anytime if you need anything. Jiang Yue offered a few perfunctory words before picking up her luggage and getting into the car. Shen Jingxian watched her retreating figure with a forlorn look, as if he might break down in tears at any moment. The university campus is very different from before. Once you step in, the atmosphere is so relaxed. It's not like middle or high school, where the daily grind of studying creates a lot of pressure. Plus, I chose a major I'm passionate about and met a group of like-minded people. Every day is genuinely enjoyable. I'm filled with regret. What was I thinking in my past life? Giving up such a wonderful life for a man. I dyed my hair a platinum blonde shade I'd never tried before and bought a whole new wardrobe in different styles. I started learning how to do my makeup, get manicures, and take beautiful photos. Went to check out a trendy restaurant with my roommate. Honestly, any one of these things is more interesting than my entire past life. When I went home for summer break, my parents said I'd really grown into my own person. When Aunt Shen heard I was back, she rushed right over to see me. Qingma, have you been able to reach Jiang Yue? Why hasn't she come back now that the holiday has started? I looked at Aunt Shen, feeling a pang of sympathy. It's been a week since the holiday started. If Jiang Yue still isn't back, what does that tell you? It means she definitely doesn't want to come back. Aunt Shen, I'm not very close with Jiang Yawei, so I don't have her contact information. It's also possible she went back to her hometown. Aunt Shen nodded, a flicker of despair and helplessness passed through her eyes. To be honest, I know Jiang Yawei is only with Jing Xian for our family's money. As long as Jiang Yawei was away, Jing Xian would sit by the windowsill waiting for her every day. Sometimes, he'd sit there the entire day. I frowned. After Aunt Shen left, I opened Jiang Yawei's social media app only to see a photo she had just posted. She was posing for a photo with a blonde, blue-eyed foreign man, their arms wrapped around each other in an intimate embrace. My mom instantly saw red. I told you Jiang Yawei was no good. I need to go talk some sense into your Aunt Shen and tell her to cut ties with that girl. I tried to calm my mother down. It's best not to meddle in other people's affairs. What if Aunt Shen and Jiang Yawei really have a falling out? If Shen Jingxian finds out and something happens, no one will be able to escape blame. Jiang Yawei finally returned just before the new semester started. She's been dressing with increasing sophistication, with her crimson lips and high heels. She's the very picture of a wealthy, beautiful socialite. Aunt Shen said that the moment she returned, Shen Jingxian seemed to come back to life. The house finally lost its dreary, lifeless atmosphere just a few days before school started. Shen Jingxian started refusing food again. Uncle and Aunt Shen were so worried about it that they couldn't eat either. The next morning, Aunt and Uncle Shen showed up at our door and straight away asked my parents to borrow 500,000 yuan. Our two families have shared a long-standing friendship for many years. My parents handed over the money without a second thought. But they were a little concerned about the Shen family's situation. Old Shen, what's going on at home? The Shen family was quite well off. Uncle Shen used to run a company. They live in a detached villa, so it doesn't make sense that they'd need to borrow even 500,000 yuan. Aunt Shen's eyes welled up with tears instantly, and she sobbed. After Jiang Yawei came back, she said she wanted to join some dance troupe and needed to buy all sorts of dance outfits. She demanded 2 million from us, threatening to cut off all contact with Jing Xian if we didn't give it to her. Jing Xuan's condition has become more and more unpredictable. The doctor says he's suffering from depression. After Aunt Shen and the others left, my parents couldn't help but vent. Honestly, Jing Xian is so immature. Even if he's paralyzed, it's been long enough. He should have moved on by now. To put it bluntly, he's just been too spoiled and can't handle the slightest setback. And of all things, he had to go and fall head over heels for a girl like that. The Shen family is practically being bled dry by her whole clan. Is love really that important? Don't his own parents matter to him at all? I raised an eyebrow. What about Uncle Shen's company? My parents looked thoroughly displeased. If Jing Xian hadn't killed someone in that car accident and then kept starving himself in protest, old Shen wouldn't have been stretched so thin. That's how his competitors managed to swoop in and steal his biggest client. The biggest reason the Shen family went bankrupt was Jing Xian. It's a shame he never appreciated old Shen's efforts and sacrifices. I sighed, feeling it was such a raw deal for Aunt Shen and the others. Jiang Yawei's latest social media update, it openly featured photos with many different men, all seeming quite intimate. Not long after, I saw a photo of Jiang Yawei with a man on a social media app. Their heads were tilted together, and their lips were touching. Jiang Yawei posted it with a caption, officially announcing her boyfriend. Looking at the man's photo, I suddenly felt he looked very familiar. It took racking my brains to finally remember, that man was Jiang Yawei's dance teacher from high school. I usually set my social media posts to friends only, so naturally, Jiang Yawei wouldn't have noticed me. Soon after, a male friend sent me some screenshots. The content is essentially a conversation between Jiang Yawei and that male teacher. Yawei, isn't 2 million a bit too little? That'll barely cover a trip abroad for us. You should ask for more while you can. You're not planning to stay with that cripple forever, are you? Jiang Yawei replied. I always thought the Shen family was loaded, but turns out they're just a hollow shell. After their company went under, they lost a fortune. Now, getting any money from them is like pulling teeth. You practically have to lend it to them first. And then there's that good-for-nothing Shen Jingxian. All he does is whine and complain, so his leg's busted. His brain still works, doesn't it? Can't he figure out a way to earn a decent living? Just looking at his pathetic face gets on my nerves. I was only back for a few days, and he was practically glued to my side every waking moment. My phone buzzes once, and he launches into the third degree, demanding to know every detail. It's absolutely suffocating. I still prefer being with you. You're way more fun than him. After all, to fund a nice trip for us, I'll figure out a way to squeeze some more money out of his family before the semester starts, probably to show off. That male teacher deliberately screenshotted and shared the chat log, and as luck would have it, my friend saw it while browsing the drama. and it eventually got forwarded to me. I had a feeling Jiang Yaowei was only with Shen Jingxian to use him to get money from Aunt Shen and the others, but I never imagined Jiang Yaowei actually despised Shen Jingxian this much. It's hard to imagine, if Aunt Shen were to cut off her funding, Jiang Yaowei wouldn't give Shen Jingxian a second glance even if he waited until his dying day, let alone marry him. Shen Jingxian brought this on himself, but Aunt Shen and the others are completely innocent. Jiang Yaowei's demands are becoming more and more insatiable. Before long, she might even force them to sell their house and car just to fund her extravagant lifestyle. If this continues, the Shen family will be on a steady, downward spiral. I intercepted Jiang Yaowei right at the entrance of the Shen family's residence. She stepped out of the Shen family's luxury car, clutching the latest designer handbag. Upon seeing me, she gave me a rather haughty once-over. What do you want? I produced the chat records and got straight to the point. You can string Shen Jingxian along if you want, but you can't keep using that to extort money from Aunt Shen and the others. I came here today to tell you that I've been watching you. If anything happens to the Shen family, I'll make sure they see the truth and sue you for fraud. Jiang Yaowei realized I was here to settle the score, and her face immediately darkened. Su Qingma, why do you keep coming back to ruin my plans? I never intended to get involved with Shen Jingxian in the first place. It was you who threatened me into visiting him at the hospital. Now that I've agreed to be with him, a cripple, I'm only taking a small compensation for my emotional distress. What gives you the right to come here and start bossing me around again? That's no excuse for you to two-time people and deceive Aunt Shen and the others. I had no intention of getting into a drawn-out argument with her and cut her off coldly. Aunt Shen's family and mine go way back. What concerns them concerns me, and I won't just stand by and watch you destroy the Shen family. As for Shen Jingxian, however he acts out as his own business, your only job is to provide emotional support. The money Aunt Shen is paying you is more than generous. It far exceeds the standard rate for a caregiver. Don't push your luck too far, or I'll make sure you learn what it means to get burned by your own game. I shook my phone as a warning and said, you're on your own. With that, I turned and headed straight home. 11. Perhaps my warning to Jiang Yaowei had finally sunk in. Before the new semester started, the Shen household remained surprisingly quiet for a change. However, Jiang Yaowei quickly made her social media posts private. It seems Jiang Yaowei has become more cautious, afraid I might gather more evidence that could be used against her in the future. I sighed inwardly. Who knows how long this method will hold up. Just before school started, my parents suddenly arranged a dinner for both families. After the meal, Shen Jingxian went and sat outside by himself. I ran into him just as I was heading out. He looked terribly pale and unwell. I was about to turn back when he spoke first. Qingma, you seem so different. Seeing you now, it suddenly feels like we live in completely different worlds. I listened quietly, glancing at my phone from time to time. An awkward silence hung in the air for a moment. I was getting a bit irritated. I'm heading back first. Qingma, don't go. I had barely taken a step when I heard Shen Jingshuan's pleading voice. Could you stay with me a little longer? It's been so long since I've spoken to anyone. I frowned. What about Jiang Yaowei? Shen Jingxian hung his head and said dejectedly, Jiang Yaowei is with another man, that dance teacher she had in high school. You must remember him. I was taken aback. So Shen Jingxian already knew. I asked coldly, so, is there's something you wanted to tell me? Shen Jingxian wore a look of remorse. After a long pause, he suddenly asked with agitation, Qingma, I've decided to call off my engagement with Jiang Yaowei. Can you come back to me? Now I finally see her for who she really is. I was such a fool back then, giving up the person who loved me most for her sake. After saying this, he looked up at me, his eyes filled with hope. Qingma, can you give me another chance? I suppressed my disgust and shot back. Is that all you have to say? Shen Jingxian nodded, a new glimmer of hope for the future in his eyes. Qingma, there's hope that my legs can recover. If you take good care of me, within 10 years, I won't need this damned wheelchair anymore. When that time comes, I'll pull the Shen family out of this mess. I'm determined to make you the esteemed Mrs. Shen in the most glorious way. Then, we'll have a child and let them inherit everything I have. Shen Jingshuan's words significantly deepened my suspicions. His decision to break off the engagement with Jiang Yaowei is actually quite understandable. Why is he so certain that his leg will be completely healed within 10 years? Why has he suddenly become so fired up and started planning for the future? The only possible explanation is that he has been reborn as well. Shen Jingshuan's eyes grew brighter and brighter. Qingma, you've had feelings for me since we were children. We grew up together. No one is more suited for marriage than we are. I cut him off immediately. My voice icy. Shen Jingxian, don't you dare dream of it. Why should I give up my own dreams just to fulfill yours? Someone like you belongs in the gutter. Don't forget your last words from your previous life. Since you've been given a second chance, why aren't you making the most of it? The smile froze on Shen Jingshuan's face. Qingma, you've come back too. A faint smile touched my lips as I said softly, surprised, I came back before you did. Right before your accident. Shen Jingshuan's face instantly turned deathly pale, a fine sheen of sweat breaking out on his forehead. Now I've been accepted into the top university in the country, my future is wide open. Look at the state of you, neither man nor ghost, you're worse than a dog. With that, I quickly wiped the cold sneer from my lips and turned back to the house as if nothing had happened. Qingma, don't go, I was wrong. Behind me, Jingxian seemed to give chase, but the sound soon faded away. That very night, Shen Jingxian was rushed back to the hospital for emergency treatment after regaining consciousness. He refused to cooperate with the treatment. Auntie Shen and the others broke down in tears once more. 12 on the day school was about to start. My parents and I got up early to head to the high-speed rail station. Just as we were about to leave, sirens suddenly went off in our neighborhood. My mom looked outside, curious, what's going on? Why are there so many ambulances here? My dad leaned in to take a look as well, and wouldn't you know it, the ambulance was heading straight for Shen Jingshuan's house. Oh no, something's happened at old Shen's place. I immediately stopped what I was doing. Did something I said that day upset Shen Jingxian so much that he's given up hope? My parents and I immediately dropped what we were doing and rushed to Shen Jingshuan's house. When we arrived, the Shen household was a scene of utter devastation. Shen Jingxian was sitting calmly in his wheelchair, his hands covered in blood. Jiang Yaowei collapsed to the ground in despair. Nearby lay a man, bloodied and battered. Uncle Shen and Aunt Shen shouted, guiding the medical staff to the scene. The injured were loaded onto ambulances in groups. Before leaving, Shen Jingxian glanced back at me. I turned my head away in disgust. I only found out later that Jiang Yaowei had a male teacher help her pack her luggage before the semester started. Shen Jingxian happened to see it. In a fit of rage, he snapped, grabbed a knife, and stabbed him from behind. When we arrived, Jiang Yaowei was sitting on the floor, terrified. She only suffered a cut on her face, but the male teacher lost too much blood and could not be saved. At the police station, Jiang Yaowei cried out, Shen Jingxian has lost his mind. The teacher and I are just friends, and he attacked without a word of warning. I swear, this has nothing to do with me. Auntie Shen had long since lost her patience. Pointing a finger right in her face, she scolded, you shut up. If you hadn't been carrying on with that man, Jingxian would never have lost control and killed someone. If anything happens to my son, I will sue you in court. She took out the photos I had sent her and showed them to the police officer. This woman took a lot of money from our family, was engaged to my son, and still brought her male lover home. My son was just provoked. While the heated argument raged on, a grim piece of news arrived from the hospital. Shen Jingxian had attempted suicide by slitting his wrists. Before heading to the hospital, he had concealed a small knife in his coat pocket. He is now undergoing emergency treatment, but due to severe blood loss, his chances of survival are slim. Upon hearing those words, Aunt Shen's eyes rolled back and she fainted. The last time I saw Shen Jingxian, his eyes were tightly shut, his entire body devoid of any color or vitality. Having lost all hope for life, he ended it this time without leaving a single word behind. After Shen Jingshuan's death, his family hastily arranged a funeral for him. A year later, I ran into Auntie Shen and the others again. I had planned to simply greet them and then leave. To my surprise, they brought up Shen Jingxian themselves. After Jingshuan's death, we've come to terms with it. We raised him all these years, yet he never understood our sacrifices. For so-called love, he didn't even care about his own life. And as for that Jiang Yaowei, your Uncle Shen and I hired a lawyer to sue her for fraud. That family has now been brought to justice. Qingma, we also want to thank you for giving us that evidence back then. We heard you've opened your own art gallery recently. Your uncle and I will definitely come by to show our support another day. From the tone of their voices, it seems they've found peace with it. I breathed a sigh of relief seeing them move on. Shen Jingxian was a selfish man from the start, whether family or lover. In his eyes, they were all just crutches he could discard at will. Only with his death could the living truly turn the page and start a new chapter. Story 2. In my past life, after my husband jumped off a building, he left behind a 20-page suicide note. Every single page was filled with accusations and resentment towards me. Everyone said I was the one who drove him to his death. My mother-in-law hated me and kicked me out of the house. My son hates me and cut all ties with me. After a lifetime of toil, all I got in return was serves you right. When I opened my eyes again, I'd returned to the day my husband asked for a divorce. On the day Shen Maji filed for divorce, I was still arguing with a vegetable vendor over a missing 10-cent coin. He came home from work and stumbled upon this scene. He was dressed in a neat Zhongshan suit, wearing silver-rimmed, round glasses. Although he was getting on in years, The fine lines around his eyes only made him appear exceptionally mature and composed, yet, when he looked at me, his brows furrowed into a knot, and his gaze was filled with nothing but disdain. Seeing his displeasure, I had no choice but to drop it. I followed him back home. The moment the door closed, he exploded, "It's just 10 cents. Was it worth arguing with him for so long? How many times do I have to tell you? Why must you always nitpick and be so aggressive?" His angry voice reverberated through the room. I kept my head down, nervously clutching the hem of my clothes. Then I looked up with an ingratiating smile. "Maji, Mom's medication is running out. Could you give me a bit more for living expenses this month? I'm completely strapped for cash," I ventured cautiously. Shinmaji visibly grew more irritated. "Money, money, money, that's all you ever talk about. Is money really that important to you?" He slammed the briefcase down on the table with a thud. "Zhao Qing, I've had enough of you. Let's get divorced." My head jerked up as I stared at him. A sudden wave of dizziness washed over me. As fragmented memories flooded in, I realized I'd been reborn too in my past life. When Shinmaji asked for divorce, I stubbornly refused. We'd been married for 20 years. I manage the household, discipline the children, and care for his ailing mother. What gives him the right to ask for a divorce? I argued with him like a madwoman, screaming that he was a heartless ingrate. The sound of dishes breaking was a daily occurrence, making our troubles known to everyone. The whole neighborhood has been watching our drama unfold every single day. No matter how much I protested, Maji remained adamant about the divorce. Suspecting he had another woman, I started tailing him in secret. Sure enough, I caught him red-handed. He's gotten involved with a female colleague from the same workplace in the cafe. He was chatting animatedly with that woman, his eyes sparkling. The woman covered her mouth with a graceful laugh. At that moment, I looked down at my 5-year-old, faded shirt. Their laughter cut deep into my pride. I lunged at them recklessly, throwing punches in blind rage. Still seething afterwards, I wrote a formal complaint to Shinmaji's workplace. "I just can't accept this. Why was I the one enduring hardships with Shinmaji when he amounted to nothing?" As he climbed the career ladder, he treated me, his devoted wife, like worthless trash. After the whistleblowing letter, both Shinmaji and the female employee received disciplinary actions. Later during the layoffs, both he and that female colleague got laid off together. He wanted to start a business with that female coworker, but she turned him down. That female employee somehow got her hands on my whistleblowing letter. Who knows what she told Shinmaji? After writing a 20-page suicide note, Shinmaji jumped off the building with the incriminating letter. I was once utterly captivated by Shinmaji's literary talent, yet when his literary brilliance manifested across these 20 suicide note pages, I clutched the suicide note with trembling hands, my body racked with chills. 20 pages of final words, each character and phrase a scathing indictment of me. He hated me for marrying him, for tormenting him all these decades. He resents me for refusing to divorce, shattering his perfect romance. He loathes me for filing that report, ruining his promising future. The suicide note ended with these words: "If hell exists, may you burn in its flames for eternity." Everyone says I drove my own husband to his death. My mother-in-law threw me out of the house, and my son cut ties with me. After a lifetime of toil, all I got in return was "serves you right." 3 memories flooded back as I glared at Shinmaji, my eyes burning with nothing but hatred. Shinmaji's expression remained stern, his look of disdain undiminished. "Zhao Qing, stop pretending to be virtuous. You should have known this would be the outcome when you pulled those disgraceful stunts." I wiped my tears and let out a scornful snort. "What exactly do you find so shameful? Is it me haggling with vendors to save money, wearing the same faded clothes for 5 years, looking disheveled while doing laundry and cooking for the whole family, or me tirelessly caring for your sick mother over 10 damn years?" Under my relentless questioning, Shinmaji's face betrayed a flicker of guilt. "Enough, stop talking. What's the point of saying all this now?" He pulled a document from his briefcase and placed it on the table. Then he laid an envelope stuffed with cash atop the file, pushing it toward me with one hand. "Here's the divorce agreement, and my compensation for you." I picked up the divorce agreement and looked it over. Everything was his, except for the apartment, which was allocated by his company and couldn't be divided. The kids and all the assets were his. All I got was a measly 1,000 yuan in compensation. Life has worn me down over the years, leaving none of my youthful bloom. My hands grew coarse, my eyes and brows showing every year of my age. I stole a sidelong glance at Shinmaji. He's always been handsome, and with age comes that dignified maturity. Now promoted to director, his demeanor radiates nothing but composure and ease. Perhaps this is how he drove me mad in our past life. I'm desperate to prove that this broken version of me exists solely for him, for this family. In the end, I was the only one moved by my own efforts. I'm truly exhausted in this lifetime. I refuse to be entangled with him any longer. I placed the divorce papers on the table. When I looked up again, my eyes burned with Determination, Shinmaji, I need 20 grand. 4. What did you say? You need 20,000. My mother-in-law came rushing out when Shinmaji and I went inside to argue. She remained silent in the inner room the whole time. Zhao Qing, you've got some nerve saying that. All these years, you've been taking advantage of my son, living here rent-free while he's the one supporting this household. 20,000. You might as well take this old woman's life while you're at it. Her scowling face now showed no trace of illness whatsoever. Shinmaji was also glaring at me with a furrowed brow. I couldn't help but sneer inwardly. Shinmaji's monthly salary these years was 600 yuan, yet he only contributed 100 yuan to the household each month. Out of this 100 yuan, over half goes to my mother-in-law's medicine, not to mention our son's living expenses, groceries, utilities. Whenever money runs short, I ask him for more. He just stares at me in silence, brows furrowed only after I frantically tallied up my recent expenses. Would he grudgingly hand me a few dozen yuan after his promotion to director? His monthly salary reached 800 yuan, not counting year-end bonuses. 20,000 was a fortune, but he managed to scrape it together from various sources. I didn't show any nervousness, just spoke calmly. Shinmaji, don't you forget, you only got this job by taking my father's spot. Now that you've been promoted, you think you can just brush me off? I wonder if your conscience can handle that, Mrs. Shin was about to say more, but Shinmaji stopped her. Give me some time. My gaze was even steadier than his. Get me the money within a month, and I'll sign and leave immediately. 5. After Shinmaji left, his mother turned on me with a vicious expression. Zhao Qing, I thought you were obedient and sensible, but you're just shameless trash. After all these years of taking advantage of my son, he's given you enough face, yet you push your luck demanding 20 grand. Listen here. You won't get a single penny as long as I'm alive. I rolled my eyes inwardly but maintained a sorrowful expression as I replied, Mom, how could you think that of me? I only asked Maji for that outrageous sum to scare him off. I'd never actually divorce him. Perhaps my tone was too convincing. Mrs. Shin's expression shifted immediately. She held my hand with a motherly expression, offering gentle advice. Good child, I always knew you weren't that kind of person. Take my word for it. You can't force fate. It's better for you both to part ways. Some things are just meant to be. Seeing my distressed expression, Mrs. Shin dropped her suspicions. That very day, I packed my bags, ready to head to the countryside and escape the hustle and bustle. I've already witnessed her shamelessness in a past life. I treated her like my own mother, yet she treated me like a free servant, humiliating me at every turn. I desperately begged her to stand up for me, but she just coldly and heartlessly said, it's all fate. After Shinmaji's death, she manipulated public opinion to pin all the vile accusations on me. She won't be able to control me anymore. 6. The house fell into sudden silence after everyone left. I drifted into a drowsy sleep, slumped in the chair. In the dream, Shinmaji lay battered and bloody, his lifeless eyes glaring at me with pure hatred. It's you. You're the one who caused my gruesome death. The old woman clutched a cleaver, staring at me with venom in her eyes. You took my son from me. I'll make sure you join him in the grave. I woke up in a cold sweat. Startled from my nightmare, I rushed to the mirror in panic. Thank God, I'd been reborn. There's still time. My life shouldn't end in misery this time. I'll live for myself. I deserve all the beauty this world has to offer. After washing my face, my son Shannon happened to come home from school. He saw the divorce papers on the table and became visibly agitated. Mom, are you divorcing Dad? To my surprise, his eyes lit up with excitement after hearing my reply. Then he spoke tentatively, what about me? Would you take me with you, you and your father? I don't think I'm imagining things. Shannon visibly relaxed after I finished speaking. In my past life, after Shinmaji's death, all his savings were taken by his mother. I could only support my son's education by selling roasted sweet potatoes on the street. Several times he walked past my stall without even glancing back. He looked down on his street vending mother. So when he received his college acceptance letter, just when I thought our hardships were over, he publicly severed ties with me on the spot. He said he hated me, blamed me for killing his beloved father. He wanted me to experience the agony of losing a loved one too. The day I was thrown out, I wandered the streets in a daze. Had I been hit by a car, no one would have even claimed my body. Even now, the agony of death still sears through every fiber of my being. Mom, when are you moving out? Shannon's words snapped me back to reality. I didn't respond, and he assumed I was too upset to talk. So he didn't press further. He just mentioned there's a school social event these days, so he's staying at a friend's place and won't be coming home. In my past life, I would have reminded him to take his homework and be careful. This time around, I stayed silent and let him be. 7. Shinmaji hasn't come back since filing for divorce half a month ago. I initially planned to pack up my belongings. After hours of packing, I realized how pitifully few Possessions I had, they couldn't even fill a single box. To my surprise, Shinmaji's superior paid an unexpected visit. I fumbled awkwardly while serving tea. Xiaoqing, don't trouble yourself, I'll just stay for a short while. These past few years, I've often dreamed of your father. He asked me to look after you. I owe you that much, child. Uncle Lu served with my father back in their army days, after Dad's accident. He's helped me in ways both seen and unseen. Now he's come to visit me in person. My heart suddenly ached with emotion. Uncle Lu, you've always sent gifts to our home during holidays. You've already been more than kind to me. After my father passed, I've long considered you a second father. Truth be told, it was thoughtless of me not to visit and express my gratitude all these years. Uncle Lu held my hand with tears glistening in his eyes. After exchanging a few pleasantries, he came straight to the point. Good child, I've wronged you. You must know how rapidly things are changing these days. Just hypothetically, if Shinmaji's department gets axed, don't panic. Seeing me frozen in shock, he quickly reassured me. Don't worry, child, I'll do everything in my power to help him get reassigned. So it wasn't my whistleblowing letter that got Shinmaji fired in my past life after all. His entire department was already on the chopping block. Since I didn't make a scene with Shinmaji this time around, Uncle Lu remained unaware of our marital issues still. Thinking of reassigning Shinmaji out of respect for my father, everything became clear to me in that instant, and I started weighing my options. I thanked Uncle Lu, then spoke with unwavering determination. Uncle Lu, you don't need to help me anymore. 8. After Uncle Lu left, I fell into deep thought. He was right about one thing, the situation changes by the hour these days. If I want to defy fate, divorcing Shinmaji is just the beginning. I still need capital to settle down and make a living. I started counting the money I had on me, including the 1,000 yuan Shinmaji left me. I now have 1,120 yuan in total. I checked the calendar. I remember reading about it in the newspaper a month later. The stock market went crazy and everyone was talking about stocks. Now that I've got some money saved up, might as well open a brokerage account early, having already faced death once. There's nothing left to fear. Worst case scenario, I'll just sell sweet potatoes on the street to make ends meet. After making up my mind, I headed straight to the stock exchange. First thing the next morning, I was in high spirits after opening my account. Then I got a stylish perm at the hair salon. I picked up a few dresses I liked at the department store. I paused mid-step as I walked past the cafe in my sundress. The mellow notes of a piano drifted to my ears. The cafe's trendy decor, delicate tableware, and the animated conversations of its patrons. Suddenly I remembered my past life, trailing Shinmaji in that faded dress shirt. Standing at the cafe entrance, I nervously clutched my sleeves. Too shy to step inside, I could only peek through the window, secretly observing how the upper class lived. Lost in thought, I found myself already inside the coffee shop. The barista asked if I had a reservation. Before I could respond, a coquettish female voice reached my ears. You must be the sister-in-law. When our eyes met, I recognized her immediately. It was Zhang Wenfeng, that female employee who'd been involved with Shinmaji in our past life. Just as I expected, Shinmaji was there too. When he saw me, his brow furrowed as usual. Oh my, sister-in-law, we're wearing the exact same dress. Only after Zhang Wenfeng's exclamation did I realize we were dressed in identical outfits. She's prettier than me, and only in this lifetime have I truly seen her beauty. Her round face was framed by large, expressive eyes. Though we're the same age, she looks noticeably younger than me. Most striking were her slender, porcelain white hands. She seemed to notice my unease, a glint of triumph flashing in her eyes. Then she gave me a once-over before covering her mouth with a coy laugh. Since your wife is here, I won't intrude. Director Shen, I'll take my leave. Before leaving, Zhang Wenfeng shot Shinmaji a look brimming with suggestiveness. Shinmaji's expression darkened instantly as he roughly dragged me out of the cafe. In the alleyway, he violently shook off my hand, his gaze venomous. Zhao Qing, I should have known better than to trust you to agree to the divorce, pretending to demand 20 grand for the divorce while secretly copying Wenfeng's style to pick fights at cafes. How pathetic can you get? I was so angry I could laugh. I slapped him hard across the face. Shinmaji, I should be the one asking you that. How pathetic can you be? If you've got the money to throw at me, I'll divorce you right now. Otherwise, quit barking at me like a dog. A flicker of surprise crossed Shinmaji's face. He probably never expected me, who'd always been too timid to even raise my voice at him, to actually lay hands on him. His shock was quickly drowned in rage. Zhao Qing, you've got some nerve. I'll get you the money this week. Just as he was about to walk away, he turned back. Wenfeng wants to come over for dinner tonight. Make a few more dishes. And remember, no scallions. I was stunned. He was basically telling me he'd already decided to divorce me, and now he expects me to cook for him and his mistress. The man's lost his mind. He seemed so certain I'd obey that he Walked off without even looking back. 9. When I got home, my mother-in-law had already returned from the countryside. She was humming a tune while leisurely trimming vegetables in the living room. Spotting me, she immediately ordered, "We're having important guests tonight, go buy some meat." I can't be bothered to keep up this charade with her. "I'm exhausted, go get it yourself." With that, I headed straight into the house. She muttered behind me, "As if I don't know you, always cutting corners," but she seemed to be in a good mood today and didn't pester me. After a while, I heard my son Shenan's voice. "Grandma, I'm going to the movies with my friends tonight. Why did you call me back?" He was my own son, after all, so I couldn't help but scold him a bit when I walked into the living room. "You've been slacking off all over the place these past 2 weeks. Are you even planning to take the college entrance exam?" I've always been strict about Shenan's studies, and he was too guilty to even look me in the eye. Surprisingly, it was my mother-in-law who spoke up in his defense. "My grandson is always at the top of his class. What's wrong with him taking a little break?" With someone backing him up, Shannon suddenly wasn't afraid of me anymore. He looked at me with disdain. "Dad said that people aren't divided by status or wealth. As long as their values align, anyone can be a friend. Besides, Dad even married a woman as unremarkable as you, so why can't I be friends with them?" I took a deep breath, a cold laugh escaping me. I knew in my past life that I had raised an ungrateful wretch, so it's no surprise he's saying these things now. My mother-in-law, hands on her hips, also started yelling curses at me. "I'm not dead yet, and you're already trying to run this house. You've turned a perfectly good home into a complete mess. How unlucky." I couldn't be bothered with them and went into the inner room. 10. Shenmaji and Zhang Wenfeng arrived together. Zhang Wenfeng brought some gifts, and the mother-in-law was beaming. "My dear, why are you always so polite? Just seeing you makes Auntie's heart so happy." Shannon also happily went to greet her. "Aunt Wenfeng, you're finally here. I've missed you so much." At that moment, they looked like a loving family, and I stood by, feeling like an outsider. When it was time to eat, I ignored everyone's stares and just sat down at the table and started eating. The mother-in-law slammed the table and stood up. "Zhao Qing, have you no sense of decency? The guests haven't even picked up their chopsticks yet, and here you are stuffing your face. The Shin family is cursed for 8 generations to have married such a disgraceful woman." Shinmaji also looked displeased, but Zhang Wenfeng stepped forward gracefully to mediate. "Auntie, your health can't take this anger. Please calm yourself. Director Shen has always been very kind to me. I came today specifically to express my gratitude. I'm hardly a guest here. If sister-in-law enjoys the dish, by all means let her have it. I don't mind at all." Though she claimed not to mind, Zhang Wenfeng's eyes betrayed her hurt feelings. In their past life, she'd driven Shinmaji to suicide with mere words. Zhang Wenfeng was no pushover. My mother-in-law has always been clueless, though. She tenderly held Zhang Wenfeng's hand. "You've been wronged, my dear. You're so obedient, sensible, and well-educated. I truly wish Emoji could marry you. I just don't know if it's meant to be." Shinmaji looked at Zhang Wenfeng with a hint of infatuation. Shannon shoveled a few mouthfuls of rice before eagerly raising his hand. "I want Aunt Wenfeng to be my new mom too." Zhang Wenfeng put on an affected smile. "Auntie, I've had a hard life since childhood. Marrying a good man like Director Shen would be the blessing of a lifetime." Getting the answer she wanted, the mother-in-law grinned from ear to ear. They acted as if I didn't exist, fussing over Zhang Wenfeng with refilled tea and extra dishes. Instead of picking up her chopsticks, Zhang Wenfeng furrowed her delicate brows and began retching. I narrowed my eyes, studying her intently. Was she pregnant? The mother-in-law paused for a moment, then seemed to understand something, her smile deepening. She immediately ladled Zhang Wenfeng a bowl of chicken soup, urging her earnestly to take good care of her health. After Zhang Wenfeng left, the mother-in-law turned to Shannon with a smile. "And then, if you were to have a baby brother, would you take good care of him?" Shannon didn't quite understand. "Grandma, Dad's about to divorce Mom. How could I possibly have a little brother?" "Silly child, you'll understand when you're older." Her expression darkened as she started cursing at my retreating figure. "Your mom's utterly useless, just eats and runs, never bothers to clean up." 11. I secretly followed Shinmaji as he walked Zhang Wenfeng home. It wasn't because I wanted to watch them flirt. I can't wait for Shinmaji to raise the money anymore. I need to push him to get this divorce over with sooner. Besides, the stock market is due for a boom, and the date is fast approaching. I need to have enough capital to get in early under the shade of the trees. Zhang Wenfeng leaned coquettishly into Shinmaji's arms, like a little bird. "Director Mo, are you going to take care of me and our child or not? Look at your wife's attitude today. She's clearly just trying to spite me." Shinmaji pulled her into a tender embrace, his heart aching for her. "Don't Worry Wenfeng, he murmured, I'll make things right for you and our child. They lingered in each other's arms for quite some time. Only after Zhang Wenfeng's stilettos clicked their way into the distance did I finally show myself. Director Shen, you're something else, not even divorced yet, and you've already got a kid running around. He visibly flinched when he realized it was me speaking, then he sternly added, Zhao Qing, since you already know, you should understand that Wenfeng is the only one I love. It's better for both of us if we go our separate ways. I feigned agreement and nodded. I've been willing to divorce from the start. It's you who couldn't scrape together the money. Shen Maji's expression darkened when I mentioned the money. 20,000 isn't exactly pocket change. I looked up with a faint smile. 20 grand. Who told you it was 20 grand? Under his bewildered gaze, I said with dead seriousness. Shen Maji, I want 25,000, by tomorrow. You, Director Shen, don't get ahead of yourself. That 20 grand quote was from half a month ago. Things are different now. You've even knocked someone up with your affair. Do you really think I'd swallow this insult? Shen Maji clenched his fists, glaring at me with icy hostility. What do you want? I spoke slowly. Give me 20,000 by tomorrow, and I'll sign the divorce papers immediately. Otherwise, your beloved woman will forever be a despised homewrecker, and your child will remain a shameful bastard. Need I mention how this will affect your reputation at the ministry? You're a smart man, Director Shen. I shouldn't need to spell it out. Without a backward glance, I walked away under Shen Maji's stunned gaze. 12. Shen Maji managed to scrape together the money by the next evening. After counting the cash, I signed with a flourish. Thankfully divorces don't require applications these days. We got our divorce papers that very same day. As I left, I warned him, you'd better keep your meddling mother in check. If she disturbs my life without cause, I won't hesitate to make a scene. Shen Maji stared blankly at the divorce certificate. Perhaps overwhelmed by euphoria, I sneered inwardly. Enjoy it while you can. This joy won't last. Holding the divorce papers, I finally felt alive again. This was just the first step in rewriting my destiny. Clutching the cash, I rushed to the stock exchange and invested every last penny of the 25,000 yuan. The agent I hired was a young man named Xiaoding, whom I remembered seeing featured in the newspaper during the stock market boom. He turned a mere $1,000 into legendary investor status. I entrusted him with all my savings and signed an agreement with him. With everything settled, a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. I'd cleaned the rental place days ago, but now I had to go back to collect my things left at the Shen residence. When I arrived at the Shen household, I found Zhang Wenfeng was there too. Mrs. Shen held her hand with motherly tenderness. Wenfeng, don't go inside just yet. Moving always kicks up dust. Wait in the courtyard and think about what you'd like for lunch. I'll cook whatever you want. I walked straight past them like they were air and went inside to grab my things. As I was leaving, Mrs. Shen barked at me to stop. Go wash yesterday's laundry before you leave. I burst out laughing. Auntie, if you're sick go see a doctor. I'm already divorced from your son. Why should I do your laundry? The sheer audacity. How shameless can you be? Mrs. Shen froze. You, motherless trash. After freeloading off our family for years, when I haven't even demanded back rent, you dare curse me over a few laundry items. Just wait till I teach you a lesson. As Mrs. Shen moved to strike, Zhang Wenfeng intercepted her. Mom, let it go. I want to talk with Sister Jiaqing for a bit. Zhang Wenfeng pulled me under the tree in the yard with a look of disdain. You must hate me a lot, don't you? I remained expressionless and silent. With a mocking smirk, she continued, my first man was useless, but I got lucky. He died young. Shen Maji's different, talented, capable, a rare catch. Women in this world are like rootless willow catkins, drifting with the wind. Only by finding fertile soil to settle can we take root and flourish. Hate me all you want, I couldn't care less. Reputation means nothing. Shen Maji's the hottest bachelor now, and I must marry him immediately to make my scheming worthwhile. As she spoke, Zhang Wenfeng's eyes gleamed with calculation. These words were meant for me, but to my ears, they sounded more like she was speaking to herself. She wasn't sure whether the land she'd settled on was fertile or barren. I smiled and said, I'm not well educated, so I can't speak in refined terms, but I don't resent you. On the contrary, I'm grateful. Thank you for freeing me from misery and showing me that the only person I can truly rely on is myself. I walked straight ahead with my belongings under her bewildered gaze. No hesitation, no looking back. 13. A month later, the stock market entered a bull run. Everyone, young and old, was talking about stocks. The stocks Xiaoding and I bought soared over tenfold. Xiaoding wanted to keep playing the market, but I decided to cash out. Sis, don't you trust me? Relax. With my skills, I can multiply your money 100 or even 1,000 times over. I knew Xiaoding had talent. In the following years, he made his fortune. Riding multiple bull markets. It's not that I don't trust him, I'm just not young anymore. I want to use this money for many things, not gamble on multiplying it 1,000-fold. I'm already content. After explaining to Xiaoding, I paid him the agreed fee as promised. The stock exchange is now packed with people scrambling to open trading accounts. I also spotted Shenmaji and Zhang Wenfeng there. Right after my divorce from Shenmaji, he went and got married to Zhang Wenfeng. Rumor has it their wedding was even more extravagant than his first marriage. Half of the 25,000 yuan Shenmaji gave me back then was borrowed, and the wedding itself cost a fortune. And now, out of nowhere, he's dabbling in stocks. Their conversation quickly revealed the reason. Wenfeng, this 5,000 yuan is the last bit of money I can possibly borrow. What if we lose it all? Zhang Wenfeng said decisively. You won't lose money. My cousin told me he has connections, and this investment will definitely multiply tenfold. Maji, you know our family's situation now. If we don't take a gamble, do you want our child to starve once they're born? Shenmaji's hesitant gaze firmed up after Zhang Wenfeng's persuasion. He personally handed over the money. I left with a sneer. 14. With the money I'd earned, I bought a small apartment and also acquired 2 well-located commercial properties, hoping to start a business. The bull market was fleeting. As the stock market plummeted, layoffs and downsizing arrived as expected. Many organizations had to restructure internal positions to introduce new technologies and equipment. Shenmaji was laid off, and Zhang Wenfeng had to be reassigned due to her pregnancy. When I went to visit Uncle Lu with some supplements, Shen's mother was outside the office, yelling furiously, "My son is a director. How dare you just lay him off like that? You're all blind and clearly targeting my son. Get your manager out here. If this isn't properly explained to me, I'm not leaving." Her dramatic outburst drew quite a crowd. Isn't that Zhang Wenfeng's mother-in-law? What a fierce woman. With Director Mo laid off, Zhang Wenfeng demoted to a dead-end job, pregnant no less, and now this unreasonable mother-in-law. I can't imagine how she's coping. Well, she brought it on herself, didn't she? You probably don't know this, but she was the mistress who muscled her way in. Zhang Wenfeng's face flushed crimson at the crowd's words. She stepped forward and took Mrs. Shen by the arm. "Mom, please stop making a scene. I'm still at work, and if you keep this up, what will everyone think of me?" Upon seeing Zhang Wenfeng, Shen's mother clutched at her like a drowning person grasping a lifeline. "Wenfeng, please talk to your superiors. Mo Ji is a capable person. They can't just lay him off like that." Zhang Wenfeng, annoyed, pushed her hand away. "Mom, this is an arrangement from above. There's nothing I can do." Shen's mother seemed to have an idea. "Wenfeng, why don't you apply to transfer your job to Maji? You can resign and stay home to focus on your pregnancy and take care of the baby. Maji is such an ambitious person. He can't be without a job." Zhang Wenfeng's face instantly darkened. Shen's mother tugged at her pant leg, tearfully begging her to give her job to Shen Maji. I couldn't help but chuckle to myself. The Shen family truly had no shame, resorting to their old tricks again. During the argument, Zhang Wenfeng shoved Shen's mother, causing her to fall to the ground. By the time Shen Maji arrived, his mother was already unconscious. Shen Maji's life has completely fallen apart. A pregnant wife, a paralyzed mother, a son in school, and himself, jobless. 15. Shannon found me just as I was finishing up at the shop and heading home. He was carrying a bag of sugar and came straight toward me when he saw me. "Mom, how have you been lately?" He looked worn out, a far cry from his former clean-cut appearance. I didn't let him in, but asked at the door, "What brings you here?" He nervously fidgeted with his collar. "Mom, I just wanted to see you." "Oh, then you can leave now." Seeing me about to kick them out, Shannon immediately blocked my way into the house. "Mom, can you please help me? I want to continue my studies." I looked at him, a puzzled expression on my face. Shen's eyes darkened. "Ever since Dad got laid off, he's been drinking at home every day, and Wenfeng keeps threatening to file for divorce. Grandma's bedridden in the hospital, and debt collectors keep showing up at our door. Between taking care of Grandma and handling household chores, I can't possibly focus on my studies." My pupils contracted as I studied him intently. "So how exactly do you want me to help you?" Seeing my agreement, the dying embers of disappointment in his eyes suddenly reignited. "Mom, could you go take care of Grandma? No one's doing the housework anymore. If you go back, Aunt Wenfeng might reconsider divorcing Dad. We'd still be one happy family, and I could focus on my studies without worry." I swallowed my anger, never expecting him to say something like that. "Shannon, I've already divorced your father. What makes you think I'd go back to that house to be an unpaid maid?" He jumped in immediately. "For me, I'm your son. Do you want to see me fail the college entrance exam?" "Mom," I scoffed. "What an idiot." Then quickly went inside and slammed the door shut. Seeing my complete lack of mercy, Shannon flew into a rage. He kicked the door violently several times, shouting at the top of his lungs, "You don't deserve to be called my mother. Just wait, when I get into university and bring honor to our family, you'll regret this." I couldn't help but sneer. I'm waiting. 16. This summer was scorching hot, and I've been swamped with work. I leased out one of the storefronts I acquired in the department store, while running the other myself selling imported leather shoes. On the day the college entrance exam results came out, I never received news of Shin. And bringing honor to his family, Zhang Wenfeng finally showed up, coming to my store to buy shoes, but the man she was clinging to wasn't Shin Maji. It was some elderly gentleman. Nowadays, even heavy makeup can't conceal Zhang Wenfeng's haggard appearance. Rumor has it she ended up aborting the child, yet Shin Maji stubbornly refuses to divorce. Her expression froze the moment she saw me. Then she lifted her chin haughtily and ordered me around. "Waiter, bring me the most expensive shoes in your store." She emphasized the words, "most expensive," with deliberate weight. The young salesgirl immediately jumped in to explain, "Miss, this is our owner. She's doing store inspections this week. What's your shoe size? I'll fetch a pair for you right away." Zhang Wenfeng froze momentarily upon hearing I was the owner. Before she could process her surprise, a figure suddenly appeared before her. "Zhang Wenfeng, do you have any idea how long I've been looking for you? Are you divorcing me just for this man? After everything I've done for you, this is how you treat me? I gave you the wedding you wanted. I borrowed money when you asked me to invest in stocks, and I agreed when you said you needed some space. And what do? You turn around, abort our child, and mess around with this man. Have you no shame?" Shin Maji questioned Shin Wenfeng, his eyes bloodshot. Zhang Wenfeng rolled her eyes. She scoffed, "For me? Don't make yourself sound so noble." She took the old man's hand and said, word for word, "Shin Maji, you're just an incompetent man. I've told you countless times, I want a divorce." Shin Maji desperately pulled her away from the man. "You're my wife now. Do you have any sense of propriety or shame?" Zhang Wenfeng scoffed, "That's rich coming from you. I should be asking you that. Weren't you messing around with me before your divorce was even finalized?" Zhang Wenfeng's face darkened with malice. "This is karma, pure karma." The older man Zhang Wenfeng had latched onto had connections. Suddenly several thugs appeared and beat Shin Maji black and blue. Zhang Wenfeng left arm in arm with the man, beaming like a blooming flower. I jerked my head up to look at him, just watching. I looked down at him from my superior position as he clung to me like a drowning man grasping at straws. He crawled toward me in a twisted manner. "Ching Ching, I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have treated you that way before. Please forgive me. I can divorce Zhang Wenfeng. Let's remarry. I promise I'll treat you right this time." I kept a straight face without speaking, signaling my assistant with a glance to call security. The guards arrived shortly, and Shin Maji's expression changed instantly. "Zhao Qing, have you no conscience? After all the money I've given you and years of support, must you be this heartless?" He was pinned down by security, unable to move. I walked up to him, taking in what he'd become. All traces of his former refinement and dignified composure had vanished. A wicked satisfaction surged through me. Who knew? Watching someone unravel from the high ground could feel this good. Words were unnecessary. The contempt in my gaze spoke volumes beyond any taunt. 17. Shin Maji ended up jumping off the building after all, just as cowardly and useless as in his past life, abandoning his gravely ill mother and barely adult son. After the police located me, they handed me a suicide note, same as last lifetime. He resented me. Hated me for taking so much of his money. He resented me for not helping him, resented me for not understanding him. The only difference was he also hated Zhang Wenfeng. Holding this suicide note now, I find it utterly ridiculous. The incompetent always shift all blame onto others. Women are always the easiest scapegoats. Yet when I built my own career, no one claimed I caused Shin Maji's death. Everyone said he brought it upon himself by abandoning his devoted wife. See, only by becoming your own fortress can you become unshakable. Story 2. The neighbor's uncle doted on me for 10 years. Because of that night, I got pregnant, and as White Moonlight was heartbroken and attempted suicide by cutting her wrist, the uncle personally aborted my child and then kicked me out of the house. From then on, I became a sinner. To atone for my sins, I applied to become a Doctors Without Borders volunteer and died in Congo. Before dying, my mind was filled with memories of my uncle. With this troublemaker dead, he should be happy. When I reached the underworld, the Lady of Forgetfulness said my obsessions were too strong to enter the cycle of reincarnation. Give me 3 days to let go of my obsession. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day it all happened. This time, I chose to take the contraceptive pill without hesitation. After taking the contraceptive pill, my uncle woke up. His gaze was sharp, his expression icy. "Li Zhaozhao, you're truly despicable. Have you no shame at such a young age? You've done something like this, shaming your parents." Even though I've heard these Words before hearing it again, my heart felt as if being gripped by an invisible hand. The pain was intense. I didn't explain, just gave a faint I'm sorry, Uncle, I was wrong. The corner of Uncle's lips curled up in a mocking arc. If you truly knew you were wrong, you wouldn't have done such disgraceful things. I barely suppressed the bitterness in my heart. I'll stay away from you from now on. 1. After realizing the inevitable tragic ending, I stopped forcing my uncle's affection. My uncle's eyes were full of mockery. Li Zhaozhao, it's a shame you don't pursue acting. I fell silent, lowering my head to hide my already reddened eyes. My uncle's gaze noticed the box of contraceptive pills under the bed. He quickly got out of bed and picked up the pill box. Upon clearly seeing it was birth control pills, a flicker of surprise flashed through his eyes, vanishing in an instant. You take birth control pills? I smirked mockingly. Or perhaps Uncle hopes I'd conceive your child after one spring night's passion. The uncle crushed the cardboard box and threw it heavily into the trash can with a loud clang. If you ever have a child, I will personally end its life. In his previous life, it was indeed he who killed the child with his own hands. Mentioning the child made his heart ache, so this time, I personally severed the bond between us. Li Zhaozhao, you're quite sensible to have taken the contraceptive pill first. Uncle has always been ruthless towards me. A gentle woman's voice sounded outside the door. Uncle's white moonlight. Mengyanan Huaiji, are you in your room? It's time to accompany me to the hospital. The sharp look in Uncle's eyes instantly vanished, melting into a pool of tenderness. Wait a moment, I'm getting dressed. Uncle is always incredibly gentle with Mengyanan, but with me, he long lost his former patience. Mengyanan asked again, is Zhaozhao not home? Where did she go? At the mention of me, Uncle's voice immediately turned colder. Let her be, who knows where she's gone off to fool around. Mengyanan gently persuaded him. Zhaozhao is still young, it's normal for her to be a bit mischievous. Don't be too strict. Mengyanan turned the doorknob. Huaiji, I'm coming in. Uncle finished dressing and stood blocking the doorway. Before leaving, Uncle turned back to warn me. I cover my bitter smile, masking the throbbing pain in my heart. Return to the room in 3 days' time. I want to bid farewell to everything. I threw all the gifts my uncle had given me over the years into the fire. A raging fire kept burning, reducing small objects to ashes. From behind came the sound of a man's questioning voice. What are you doing? Are you burning something? He focused his gaze, showing a nervous expression, and kicked over the brazier, braving the high winds. The uncle reached out his hand, his voice trembling. Why burn them all? The warm firelight reflected on my cold face. Because they were all moldy. Uncle is still angry. Even though it's moldy, you didn't have to burn it all. These are memories. Before Uncle could finish speaking, Mengyanan called him away with another phone call. Between Mengyanan and me, Uncle would always choose Mengyanan without hesitation. In the evening, I returned to the old house. Grandpa Pei and Grandpa were comrades in arms. After my parents passed away, Grandpa Pei took me back to the Pei family. Zhaozhao, you're here. Did your uncle bully you again? Grandpa Pei will teach him a lesson. Faced with Grandpa Pei's concern, I was overwhelmed by boundless bitterness. Uncle treats me very well. Grandpa, I want to move out of the Pei family. Grandpa Pei couldn't understand. Why? Tell Grandpa where you're unhappy. I couldn't suppress my trembling and grievances. No, I think I've grown up and can venture out into the world. Grandpa Pei immediately noticed something was wrong with me. He flew into a rage. Call Pei Huaiji, get your ass back here. I urgently grabbed Grandpa Pei's sleeve, pleading with him in tears. I beg you, don't call Uncle. Don't pressure him anymore. Grandpa Pei, I don't like Uncle anymore. I just want to move away. Is that okay? Grandpa Pei let out a heavy sigh. You've grown up, and I'm too old to control you anymore. Zhaozhao, I'll always be your grandpa. If you ever feel wronged outside, just come back. Grandpa will stand up for you. I wiped my tears and smiled, replying, okay. Just stepped out of the Pei family's gate. My uncle stormed toward me with aggressive strides. He tightly grabbed my wrist and said fiercely, you've got some nerve. Li Zhaozhao, burning things this afternoon. So eager to be with me that you went and told Grandpa about it. You know he's always favored you most, and now you're using him to force me into marrying you. Are you happy now? My wrist ached from Uncle's tight grip, tears welling up uncontrollably. I didn't say anything. Uncle snorted coldly. If you didn't say it, how would Grandpa know? I struggled to shake off his hand and explained with grievance. I don't know. Can't you understand, Uncle? Amid the argument, a phone call came through, carrying an anxious voice. Huaiji, Anan knows about you and Li Zhaozhao. She's attempted suicide by cutting her wrists. My uncle shot me a look full of disgust. Overwhelming grievances spread from the heart. His voice was urgent. Okay, I'll come right away. Wait for me. Li Zhaozhao, look at the mess you've made. If anything happens to Anan, I won't let you off. After he hurriedly left, I realized my face was already streaked with tears. My uncle didn't return all night. It wasn't until dawn that Mengyanan updated her social media. So you did love me after all, Mr. Pei, thank you for the diamond ring. I adore it. Unlocked new identity, fiancé. The words fiancé stabbed deep into my eyes. My heart still ached uncontrollably. Breathing became difficult. Silently gave a like. Then took no further action. In the past, I would have acted like a shrew, making a scene, but now it seems meaningless. The next day was Manganen's birthday. I stepped outside and saw the villa surrounded by white roses. White roses are Manganen's favorite flowers. The surrounding people's discussions kept pouring into my ears. How blissful. CEO Pei is going to propose to Sister Anan. A good novel story. You saved my life. I'll dedicate my entire life to you as compensation. That's exactly what CEO Pei and Sister Anan mean. Their words pierced my heart like sharp blades. I was clearly the one who saved Uncle. I told Uncle about it, but he said I was consumed by jealousy. I couldn't bear to listen any longer and turned to leave. Manganen, dressed in haute couture wedding gown, called out to stop me. Zhao Zhao, where are you going? All eyes fell upon me. The uncle stood beside Manganen in a matching suit, looking like a perfect couple. Her name is Li Zhao Zhao, the granddaughter of the uncle's grandfather's comrade in arms, and she also lives with the Pei family. Someone sneered. I know her, an orphan who brought misfortune to her parents. I also heard her mother was the other woman, so it was the mistress taking over. No wonder she died in the end. Serves her right. I only told my uncle about family matters. I trusted him, but he turned around and told others. I turned away, wiped my tears, and left. After a while, Uncle caught up. Today is Anan's birthday. Can't you be more sensible? I shouted back. No, Uncle, I told you about family matters, but you immediately shared them with others. A flicker of guilt flashed through the uncle's eyes, vanishing in an instant. I didn't tell anyone else. I don't know where they got the news from. Then you shouldn't have stormed off like that. Today is Anan's birthday, but he forgot. Yesterday was my birthday too. I suppressed the stabbing pain in my heart and took a deep breath. I didn't want to attend in the first place. You understand, my uncle sneered. I know you're trying to cause trouble again. Because of you, Anan almost committed suicide. They just wanted you to attend the birthday party. Li Zhao Zhao, can't you show some compassion? I retorted hoarsely. Uncle, aren't you accusing me without even asking for the reason? Is it really that I lack compassion? Or are you looking at me through colored glasses? A mocking smile curled at the corner of Uncle's lips. Am I seeing you through tinted glasses? Every single thing you've done. Where's the misunderstanding? So tired. Never been this exhausted before. Manganen walked up to me holding a piece of cake. Zhao Zhao, want some cake? The sight of cake instantly made me nauseous. Mang Anan looked bewildered. What's wrong with you? Uncle said disdainfully. Zhao Zhao, have you no manners at all? I was kindly sharing cake with you. Human food simply doesn't suit my current body. The uncle flew into a rage and threw the cake violently onto the ground. What a buzzkill. After the crowd dispersed, I couldn't stop coughing, with blood continuously streaming from the corner of my mouth. Having returned to the mortal world for 3 days, I only had 3 days of life left. There's only 1 day left. I hurried to Grandpa Pei's place to say my final goodbye. Grandpa, he greeted me cheerfully. Zhao Zhao is here. Grandpa Pei, in a couple of days, I'm going to a very faraway place. Grandpa Pei became sad. Then will you still come back? I hugged Grandpa. Of course I'll return. Wherever Grandpa Pei is, that's home. Grandpa Pei patted my hand and said, it's good that you're back. After saying goodbye to Grandpa, I went back to my room to pack my things. The door was kicked open by my uncle. Li Zhao Zhao, what on earth are you trying to do? I was baffled and stood frozen in place too. Uncle, what are you saying? I don't understand. Uncle snorted coldly and dragged me outside. The commotion was too loud. Alerting Butler Li, he stepped forward to block the way. President Pei, where are you taking the young lady? The uncle shouted sharply. Step aside. Butler Li, seeing the uncle's great anger, silently retreated to the side. I was roughly shoved into the car by my uncle, desperately pounding on the window. Uncle, take me there. Uncle pinned down my struggling legs without a word. Even when we arrived at the hospital, he still held on to me. Look at what you've done. The whole of Haicheng knows about our scandal, and Anan is being gossiped about behind her back. He frowned and kept blaming me. Now that someone's in the hospital, are you satisfied? Manganen walked over looking pale and weak, softly trying to mediate. All right Huaiji, Zhao Zhao is still a child. Don't be so harsh. I believe Zhao Zhao didn't do it on purpose. I defended myself. It wasn't me who said it. Uncle grew even angrier. Do you have even half of Anan's tolerance and understanding? How could you ever compare to them? It was all just my wishful thinking. In Uncle's heart, Manganen is the moon among clouds, while I'm just the mud beneath his feet. I smiled self-deprecatingly and stopped arguing. You're right. As I turned to leave, my uncle grabbed my wrist. What mischief are you up to again? I shook my head in denial. Nothing. I'm going home. To pack my things, the uncle sneered and roughly shook off her hand. To teach you a lesson, and I will get engaged tomorrow. Hearing the word engagement directly from my uncle's mouth felt like a thunderbolt striking my heart. Engagement? That's nice. I forced a bitter smile. That's great. Congratulations to you both. For tomorrow's engagement ceremony, you can just stay in the confinement room and reflect on your actions. Don't even think about asking my father for help either. I've sent him away to Haicheng. I spoke in disbelief, my heart aching with bitterness. Confinement room? I have claustrophobia. Being locked up would drive me crazy with fear. Mengenen spoke weakly like a willow swaying in the wind. Li Zhaozhao, we're doing this for your own good. You just need to stay for one night. A group of bodyguards tied me up and roughly threw me into the confinement room. Butler Li spoke up to plead for mercy. President Pei, spare Miss Li, she didn't mean it. She knows she was wrong. I knew my uncle was cruel to me, but I never expected him to be this heartless. Younger uncle clearly didn't believe it. Would she even realize her mistake? Mengenen spoke softly in persuasion. Zhao, just endure it for one night. When you come out, sister-in-law will definitely make it up to you properly. Thank you for me and your younger uncle. I grabbed younger uncle's pant leg, both scared and wronged. I was really wrong, uncle. Please believe me. I definitely didn't say it, uncle. I'll leave tomorrow, far away from you all, and promise never to disturb you again. Uncle gripped my chin harshly. I don't believe a single word you say. You're full of wicked ideas. Just stay here and reflect on your actions. My voice choked up as I tried to grab hold of him. No, uncle, I'm scared. Uncle looked down at me as he pried my fingers open one by one, leaving me weak and collapsing to the ground. The last day of returning to the human world. I don't want to stay in the confinement room. I want to see my parents and grandpa. Please let me see my parents just once. I'll obediently stay confined when I return. Uncle's face remained cold as he spoke word by word. No, stay put quietly. You'll be released as soon as tomorrow's engagement is over. I cried out in despair. Uncle, but I have no tomorrow left. I'll never see mom, dad, or grandpa again. Uncle scoffed. Li Zhaozhao, you're a living person. How could you possibly die? The last shred of hope slipped through my fingers. Resigned, I stopped struggling. Yes, I really am going to die. As we spoke, the gate slowly closed, gradually obscuring my uncle's face. I coughed up blood incessantly throughout the entire night. The sound of wedding music played outside as I listened, feeling life slipping away. After the engagement ended, my uncle finally remembered me. He opened his mouth to ask Butler Li, was the young lady well behaved? Did she make any fuss? Butler Li wiped away his tears. The young lady will never fuss again. She's gone. The uncle clearly didn't believe it and repeated the question once more. Where is Li Zhaozhao? Where is she? Did she do something bad again and make you lie to me together? Butler Li sighed. That's not the case. President Pei, why do you always assume the worst of Miss? She clearly did nothing at all. Butler Li continued. The young lady has truly left. If you don't believe me, you can go check the basement yourself. Butler Li's gaze was earnest, and the uncle's skeptical expression gradually faded. The next second, he rushed out of the venue and drove away, leaving Mengenen, who was still chatting and laughing with friends, to depart first. Sensing something amiss, Mengenen hurriedly chased after him. My soul hovered above, watching quietly. Uncle drove very fast, and we arrived at the Pei family's house in no time. The news of my departure was intercepted by Butler Li and not told to Grandpa. Having died once before, dying again didn't hurt as much this time. Stumbling all the way, Uncle rushed to the basement, only to see me inside, lying in a pool of blood. The uncle froze in place, his body trembling uncontrollably. He covered his mouth, the strong stench filling the air around him. The uncle lost all strength in his body, collapsed to the ground, tears streaming down his face. He reached out to brush the hair from my face, murmuring incessantly, Zhaozhao, Li Zhaozhao, wake up. After speaking, he reached to check my breathing until his fingertips turned ice cold. He finally believed I was gone. He disbelievingly retorted, how could this be? It's impossible. She was clearly healthy. How could she just be gone? The uncle trembled as he fumbled to take out his phone and make a call. The call didn't go through, so Grandpa Pei came first. Uncle turned his head. Dad, what brings you here? Grandpa Pei delivered a sharp slap across Uncle's face. You disgraceful son, look at what you've done. The uncle froze in place, his head knocked sideways, a bright red slap mark appearing on his right cheek. A perfectly good person. Look what you've done to her. I know you hate Li Zhaozhao's mother, but she's innocent. Grandpa Pei sighed. You used to get along so well. How did it come to this? Grandpa Pei sigh couldn't help but remind me of the times when my uncle doted on me as a child, but those days are long gone and will never return. My uncle lowered his head and apologized to my body. Dad, I'm sorry. Grandpa Pei snorted coldly, clearly not accepting it. Sigh, there. Already gone. What's the use of apologizing now? Grandpa Pei wiped the tears from the corner of his eye. Poor child, Manganan also arrived. Seeing the scene in the basement, she let out a scream. "Ah, what happened? How could this be?" Uncle answered in a muffled voice. "Li Xiaoxiao is gone." At night, Uncle came alone into my room carrying wine. He discovered that all my belongings were gone. Startled, he shouted loudly, "Butler Li, where are the young lady's things?" Butler Li answered truthfully, "The young lady's belongings were all mailed away a few days ago." "You didn't know?" The younger uncle sat back down with a despondent expression, murmuring to himself, "So she wanted to leave all along." Tears slid from the corners of his eyes as the phone began to ring. A man's delighted voice came through the phone. "Huaiji, congratulations on your engagement." The uncle responded with an and said, "Thank you." After hanging up, he thought about the engagement. He still needed to comfort Manganan as he turned to leave. Manganan's voice sounded outside the door. Gone was her usual gentle charm, leaving only venom. "Oh, come on, Dad, just believe me, it's fine. That little bitch Li Xiaoxiao died long ago. Dead men tell no tales. From now on, Huaiji will only trust me more desperately." Manganan's voice continued echoing through the empty living room, brimming with smugness. "Dad, you wouldn't believe it. Huaiji took the initiative with that maid. It nearly killed me with rage. Thank goodness you told me to hold back. Otherwise I would have definitely confronted Huaiji. That would ruin my image in Huaiji's eyes." The uncle behind the door was thunderstruck, standing frozen in place, unable to move for a long time. His heart kept aching with sharp pain, and his face instantly turned deathly pale. Only then did the uncle realize he had misunderstood Li Xiaoxiao. Li Xiaoxiao has always been innocent. He is the shameless one. In an instant, a flood of emotions overwhelmed his heart. Pain and regret swirled within him. I watched it all with a calm heart. Then a phone call came in. Butler Li's voice sounded. "President Pei, the test results are out." Manganan's voice had long since disappeared. Uncle calmed himself down. "What's the result?" Steward Li spoke with trembling voice. "The test results indicate the young lady had already passed away 3 days ago." Even Steward Li couldn't believe his own words as he spoke. Yet the monitoring report clearly stated the facts in black and white. The sudden news left Uncle momentarily stunned. "What do you mean she was gone 3 days ago?" In an instant, the uncle was thunderstruck. Frozen in place, large teardrops kept falling continuously. He suddenly remembered that Li Xiaoxiao hadn't eaten at the table for several days. How could a normal person go without eating for 3 days? Coupled with Li Xiaoxiao's behavior at Manganan's birthday party 3, he could now be certain that Li Xiaoxiao had been gone for 3 days. I stared intently at my uncle's devastated expression. "I understand now. He would suffer if I died, but what use is such suffering?" After my uncle hung up on Butler Li's call, he went to Grandpa Pei's place, and I floated along with him. Grandpa Pei was sitting on the sofa wiping my photo, only looking up when Uncle approached him. His spirits had visibly declined, his expression despondent. "You're here. What brings you?" The younger uncle bent down and sat beside Grandpa Pei, speaking after a while. "The medical report says Li Zayas Hockey left 3 days ago." "I don't believe it, so I came to ask you." A flash of shock passed through Grandpa Pei's eyes, then vanished. "Understood. She's already gone. You don't need to concern yourself with when she left." The younger uncle spoke in disbelief. "You don't seem surprised at all." Grandpa Pei could read my mind. When I was little, before Grandpa passed away, he nervously brought me to the Pei family to play. Grandpa Pei really likes me and always enjoys teasing me. He even told Grandpa that he should let me stay with the Pei family for a while. Every time I play hide and seek with Grandpa Pei, he always finds me. He says he doesn't even need to think to know where I'm hiding. He also understood my feelings for my younger uncle and did his best to help me. But only now do I realize that matters of the heart are the most impossible to force. Forced fruit is never sweet. Grandpa Pei wiped the tears from the corner of his eyes and put down my photo. "It's not that I wasn't surprised, but she suddenly told me days ago that she wanted to go to a faraway place." He sighed. "But back then, this old man just thought she wanted to go out to clear her mind because of your situation, so I didn't ask too many questions." After a moment of silence, Grandpa Pei continued, "Actually, 3 days ago, on the day you two were intimate, she came to see me." Uncle asked in a muffled voice. "What did she say when she came to see you?" Grandpa Pei picked up the teacup from the coffee table and took a sip of tea. He said unhurriedly, "She told me she doesn't like you anymore. Li Xiaoxiao said she knows you'll never develop feelings for her, so she decided to give up on you, using growing up as her reason. She wants to move out of the Pei family home." The uncle looked shocked. "So Li Xiaoxiao didn't come to you about me and her?" Grandpa Pei shook his head and replied firmly, "No, I heard about you and her from someone close to Manganan." The uncle was struck by another blow. So he had misunderstood Li Xiaoxiao again. How many things had he done to wrong Li Xiaoxiao? Grandpa Pei stood up and picked up my photo. "I'm tired, going upstairs to sleep. I'll leave Xiaoxiao's funeral arrangements to you. I feel sorry for her grandfather, and I'm also sorry for her. I can only apologize to her grandfather when I go down there later." Grandpa Pei bent over, leaning on his cane as he walked with unsteady steps. Grandpa Pei's hair was graying, And he walked very slowly, much slower than usual. An overwhelming wave of sorrow and bitterness enveloped me. Grandpa Pei had truly grown old. He had raised me with such care for over a decade, yet in the end, he had to bury someone younger than himself. I couldn't help but step forward to embrace him, yet all I could do was watch helplessly as my own body passed right through him. I stood helplessly frozen, watching Grandpa Pei walk away. Finally left together with my uncle. In the evening, he took out several bottles of red wine from the liquor cabinet. As far as I can remember, my uncle rarely drinks, except when he's particularly upset or sad. After downing half a bottle of red wine, Uncle passed out. He kept murmuring, "Zhao Zhao, I'm sorry, Uncle is sorry. Please visit Uncle in his dreams, won't you?" Floating in the air, I remained indifferent to his actions. Butler Lee heard the noise and pushed the door open to enter. Carefully, he took the remaining red wine from beside his uncle. The next day, as soon as his uncle woke up, he planned to go to the crematorium. Just as he descended the stairs, he saw Meng Yan'an sitting on the sofa. She sprang up from the sofa in a flash and trotted over to her uncle. Meng Yan'an instinctively wrapped her arms around her uncle's arm, beaming with a radiant smile. Her uncle's face turned cold as he pushed Meng Yan'an's hand away. Meng Yan'an spoke with a pitiful tone, "Huai Ji, I'm sorry. Did I do something wrong to upset you?" The uncle's face remained cold, his tone stiff. "I don't have time to talk about that today. I'm leaving first." Meng Yan'an froze, quickly grabbing his arm. "Huai Ji, I came to discuss our wedding with you. Since we're already engaged, why don't we move the wedding date forward? I've asked my parents, and they have no objections." "What about you?" Uncle sneered coldly and shook off Meng Yan'an's hand. "Meng Yan'an, how come I never noticed before how heartless you can be? Zhao Zhao just passed away, and you couldn't wait to get married. Do you still have any conscience left?" This was the first time Uncle had ever spoken harsh words to Meng Yan'an. The smile on her lips froze instantly, her expression turning awkward. Soon after, Meng Yan'an composed herself. "Huai Ji, do you perhaps have some misunderstanding about me?" I was also deeply saddened by Zhao Zhao's departure. "We who are still alive must go on living." Uncle gave her a quiet look, then smiled. Only now did he realize how terribly wrong he had been. Meng Yan'an noticed Uncle was unhappy. She raised a smile and softened her voice to coax him. "Huai Ji, I was wrong. I shouldn't have come to discuss the marriage with you at this time." The uncle frowned, his tone impatient. "I don't want to marry you. Our engagement is cancelled. Do you understand?" Meng Yan'an was as if struck by lightning, her voice trembling. "Huai Ji, what did you say? You want to break off the engagement?" The uncle had seen everything, looking at Meng Yan'an with utter disgust in his eyes. "Meng Yan'an, aren't you tired of putting on this act? What happened between me and Zhao Zhao was my initiative, yet you kept it from me. You faked suicide to gain sympathy, framing Zhao Zhao to make me despise her. You even went so far as to publicize the matter widely." "Meng Yan'an, how vicious your heart is." Instantly, Meng Yan'an's face turned deathly pale. "Huai Ji, it's not like that. Let me explain." Large teardrops welled up in her eyes, then rolled down her cheeks one after another. "Please don't call off the engagement. I did all this because I love you too much." The uncle curled his lips into a mocking smile. "Love me, Meng Yan'an? You say you love me. Is your love just a shield for your misdeeds?" "I'm not a fool, Meng Yan'an. You must be so proud, having played me for a fool all this time." Meng Yan'an was in tears, desperately trying to explain. "No, I truly love you. Please believe me." Her uncle refused without hesitation. "No, move aside." After speaking, her uncle pushed Meng Yan'an away and left. Meng Yan'an fell to the ground, froze for a few seconds, then burst into loud sobs. "Huai Ji, come back. Don't leave me alone. Please come back." Uncle left without looking back, and I followed him. Glancing back at Meng Yan'an, I felt unusually calm inside. My uncle went to the crematorium, remaining silent throughout the entire process. After the ceremony concluded, he alone carried the urn to the memorial hall. During my lifetime, I didn't have many friends. When the rites were over, he buried the ashes in the cemetery he had chosen. I placed my favorite jasmine flowers. My younger uncle squatted in front of the tombstone, murmuring to himself, "Zhao Zhao, you're truly heartless, never once appearing in my dreams. Then again, you must despise me utterly. Why would you ever want to see me?" Came back home in the evening. The entire Meng Yan'an's family came, having finally managed to cling on to the prestigious Pei family. They were unwilling to give up. Meng Jiawei put on an ingratiating smile. "Huai Ji is back. You must be tired." The uncle ignored him, sitting silently on the sofa. "Zhao Zhao was a good child. We're also heartbroken that she's gone." After speaking, he pretentiously wiped his tears, putting on an act of grief and sorrow. Meng Yan'an flashed an ingratiating smile. "Huai Ji, are you still angry?" The uncle wasn't in the mood to beat around the bush with them. "If you have something to say, just say it directly. No need to keep us guessing." Meng Jiawei cleared his throat twice, his expression serious. "Huai Ji, you said you want to break off the engagement. Our family disagrees. Can we discuss this again?" The uncle refused without hesitation. "No, Do you think this is fun? Meng Jiawei's anger flared up instantly as he slammed his hand heavily on the coffee table. Pei Huaiji, what do you mean by this? Do you think our Meng family has no dignity left? Don't push us too far, Uncle sneered. I'm pushing you too far. Haven't you been the ones deceiving me all along? This self-directed farce of yours isn't over yet, Meng Yanan hastily explained. Dad, could you say less? Huaiji, my dad didn't mean it that way. We wanted to talk to you properly. We were wrong about what happened before. I'm sorry. I apologize to you. I hope you can forgive me, the uncle said coldly. I don't care for your apology, and I don't want to see you again. He showed them the door. You make me sick. Get out of here. Meng Jiawei's anger flared up uncontrollably. Pei Huaiji, you've got some nerve. Let's go, and then don't regret it later. There's no such thing as a pill for turning back time in this world. Meng Yanan refused to leave, tears glistening at the corners of her eyes. Dad, I won't go. I want to stay with Huaiji. I don't want to leave, please. Just let us be together. Meng Jiawei forcefully shook off her hand and shouted angrily. Meng Yanan, aren't you ashamed enough already? I floated above, watching the drama unfold. Meng Jiawei continued speaking. If you don't leave today, I'll act as if I never had a daughter like you from now on. Meng Yanan still refused to leave, and Meng Jiawei could do nothing about her. He had no choice but to leave first. Afterwards, Meng Yanan knelt in the courtyard and shouted loudly, Huaiji, I know I've committed an unforgivable wrong, but I truly love you. For the uncle's rage surged around him as he strode toward the door. A large hand viciously clamped around Meng Yanan's slender neck. Instantly, Meng Yanan found herself gasping for breath. Her hands feebly slapped at her uncle's arms until her face gradually turned bluish. Meng Yanan was nearly strangled to death before their eyes. Only then did the uncle release his grip, his expression icy to the extreme, his voice like winter's frost. Meng Yanan, I truly wish I could personally anger you to death. Meng Yanan fell to the ground beside them, gasping for fresh air. Unable to utter a word. The next moment, rain poured down in torrents. The uncle hurried back to the living room, leaving Meng Yanan alone lying in the rain. I watched her outside for a while, and shortly after, Meng Jiawei took her back inside. In the evening, the Pei family announced the marriage alliance with the Meng family. My uncle also gave Meng Jiawei a considerable sum of money, so he stopped making trouble. After Meng Yanan woke up, she couldn't accept at all that her engagement with my uncle had been called off. No matter how much she cried, made a scene, or threatened suicide at the Meng family home, she couldn't change her father's mind overnight. She had a mental breakdown and went insane. The Meng family had no choice but to send Meng Yanan to a mental institution. They told outsiders that Meng Yanan had gone traveling abroad. In order to protect the Meng family's reputation, Meng Jiawei didn't want a daughter who went mad after being jilted to tarnish the Meng family's reputation. Meng Jiawei loved Meng Yanan, but he loved money and reputation more. Ever since Meng Yanan left, my uncle would spend all his time either at work or sitting in my room. Everyone said he was thinking of me. I don't believe it anymore, nor do I care after seeing all this. I just want to know when I can finally be reincarnated. My uncle got into a car accident that very night, and I stayed by his side. I watched helplessly as he was repeatedly hit by several black cars. They didn't leave until the car was completely wrecked. Uncle exclaimed in surprise. Zhao Zhao, so you've been by my side all along. I've missed you so much. Uncle was wrong. Uncle is sorry, truly sorry to you. After hearing Uncle's words, I felt no emotional fluctuation whatsoever. Yan Li's voice rang in my ears. Come back, child, your obsession has vanished. I saw Mengpa again, her face beaming with a smile as she looked at me. Child, congratulations, you've let go of your attachments and can now be reincarnated. The corners of my mouth lifted into a faint smile as I thanked Lady Meng. Thank you, Lady Meng. I finally understood what Lady Meng meant by attachments. It's my love and affection for my uncle. I'm too fixated on him, hoping he would glance at me, so much so that in the last second before death, all the memories in my mind were about him. Thus the obsession runs too deep, preventing reincarnation. Seeing my uncle still had words for me, Lady Meng turned and left. You all chat first. This old one will excuse herself. The younger uncle nearby anxiously spoke up. Zhao Zhao, so you've really been by my side all along? I nodded and answered truthfully. Yes, I've always been by your side. The uncle lowered his head in shame. I'm sorry, I wronged you about that matter. I was a jerk. I've been deceived by Meng Yanan all along, kept completely in the dark by them. As he spoke, the uncle's voice suddenly choked with emotion. Zhao Zhao, you're right. Since that incident happened, yes, I've been looking at you through colored glasses. It's all my fault for not distinguishing between good and bad, making you suffer unfairly. I apologize to you. Please forgive me. With a calm expression, I said, Uncle, what's done is done. There's no need to talk about forgiveness or not. The younger uncle felt even more distressed, his eyes reddening. Zhao Zhao, I was truly wrong before. I couldn't see my own heart clearly. I do like you. My heart remained utterly unmoved. Uncle, I really don't like you anymore. Uncle frowned at me in disbelief, his voice trembling. Zhao Zhao, are you telling the truth? Impossible. I don't believe it. I thought letting go of him would be difficult, but fortunately I've moved on, Uncle. I'm really not lying to you. This was the first time I called him by his name in front of my uncle. I admit I once deeply liked you, but now I don't love you anymore. I don't like you anymore. Is that not allowed? My younger uncle looked up at me dejectedly. It's not that it can't be done, it's just that I can't accept it. Zhao Zhao, I've finally managed to see my own heart clearly. At least from now on, I can share my feelings with you, but now there's nothing I can do. After a moment of silence, I spoke. Uncle, I don't regret having loved you, but some things and people are just meant to be missed. We were destined to meet but not meant to be. Why must you cling to all this so stubbornly? Uncle weakly fell to his knees, tears streaming uncontrollably from the corners of his eyes, trickling down his face. He fell weakly to his knees on the ground. Zhao Zhao, little uncle is truly sorry to you, truly sorry. Now that you're gone, nothing I do can make up for it, he continued. Can you tell me how exactly you passed away? After Manganan committed suicide, I went to Congo DRC and became a Doctors Without Borders physician. In the end, I was unfortunately shot and killed during a mission to rescue children after death, because my obsession with you was too deep. Granny Meng said drinking the soup of forgetfulness would be useless for me. I cannot enter the cycle of reincarnation. I paused before continuing to speak, so after discussing with her superior, she granted me 3 days to return to the past, hoping I could let go of my obsession. My uncle asked with a worried expression, what will happen if you can't let go of your obsession in 3 days? I shook my head. I don't know. Maybe I'll just keep following you around forever. The Lady of Forgetfulness then spoke up. You finished speaking? I nodded. All right. Thank you for your time. Uncle stood by my side, looking at me reluctantly. Zhao Zhao, I took the mingpa soup. Goodbye, Uncle. Goodbye means never seeing each other again. After saying that, I walked toward the Mingpa bridge. Uncle was sobbing uncontrollably behind me, shouting loudly, Li Zhao Zhao, if there's a next life, would you be willing to? My uncle's words were left unfinished as I interrupted him. No, I wouldn't. I only wish for us to part ways and never meet again, never see each other again. Behind me was my uncle's heart-wrenching voice. Zhao Zhao, I beg you to look back at me. Just once. I didn't look back. Just kept walking forward. People should never repeat the same mistakes. Move forward boldly. Pei Huaiji's obsession was too deep, so Mengpa permitted him to visit the mortal world and see Li Zhaozhao's next life. From the moment Li Zhaozhao was born, he followed by her side. Li Zhaozhao was the only daughter in her family, and everyone doted on her excessively. Li Zhaozhao and her neighbor Qian Yu never got along, often quarreling with each other. Ke Li's mother and Qian's mother were longtime friends, and they even made a pact to become in-laws someday. Qian Yu had cold, stern features and always wore an unapproachable expression. Li Zhaozhao was like a little ray of sunshine, always cheerful with everyone. The two pretended not to know each other at school until the end of their third-year mock exams. Li Zhaozhao's college entrance exam scores, which were originally good enough for top-tier universities, suddenly dropped, making her parents realize something was wrong. Their daughter had fallen in love. Li Zhaozhao had grown very close to a top student in her class. Though they hadn't officially started dating yet, they were just one step away from confessing their feelings, leaving Pei Huaiji watching on the sidelines, full of jealousy yet helpless. He recalled that Li Zhaozhao had once loved him with such sincerity and passion. His heart ached uncontrollably. The Li parents grew extremely anxious and, after discussing with the Qian family, decided to have a serious talk with Li Zhaozhao. During the critical period of senior year, they forcibly separated the young lovers. Before they could act, Li Zhaozhao returned in tears. She found out that the top student never liked her and was just using her as a pretext for truth or dare. Seeing Li Zhaozhao crying heartbrokenly, Pei Huaiji was filled with guilt. He had said many harsh words and didn't know how many times Li Zhaozhao had cried in secret. Li Zhaozhao threw herself onto Qian Yu, wailing loudly, while Qian Yu stood frozen in place, motionless, his eyes filled with heartache as Qian Yu gently comforted Li Zhaozhao. Be good, don't cry, Big Brother will avenge you later, sure. Enough. The next day, the top student in Li Zhaozhao's class got a thorough beating. Later he apologized to Li Zhaozhao, but she completely ignored him. She turned around and left immediately. After this incident, a subtle yet pitiable change occurred in the relationship between Li Zhaozhao and Qian Yu. Both understood without speaking. At the request of Li Zhaozhao's parents, Qian Yu frequently came to tutor her at home. The two stopped arguing, indeed blushing when their eyes met. Pei Huaiji knew they had fallen for each other. His heart ached unbearably, yet there was nothing he could do. Li Zhaozhao suddenly realized Qian Yu was strikingly handsome with a pleasant voice, and she'd even miss him after long separations. Finally, Qian Yu could openly approach the person she liked. With the college entrance exams approaching, both could only try their best to suppress their simmering affection. Fortunately, after the exams, both were admitted to universities in the capital city. Though not the same university, they were right next to each other, making it very convenient to stay in touch. Qian Yu deliberately applied to the same university as Li Zhaozhao, unable to bear being separated from her. The day the admission letter arrived happened to be a bright sunny day, a midsummer night. Qian Yu invited Li Zhaozhao out for a date, taking her to see the ocean. Li Zhaozhao was also very happy, chatting and laughing with other friends along the way. At midnight, on the evening of Li Zhaozhao's birthday, fireworks bloomed by the seaside, lit solely for Li Zhaozhao. Li Zhaozhao covered her mouth in surprise, her eyes filled with astonishment. Qian Yu held a bouquet of jasmine. Li Zhaozhao, I like you, would you be with me? Li Zhaozhao responded loudly, I will. Pei Huaizhi watched the two embracing each other, happy for them, but felt an indescribable sourness in his heart. That very night, both sets of parents found out about this matter. At first they were worried, but later felt it was acceptable and saw no issues. Both sets of parents took turns warning Qian Yu that he must treat Li Zhaozhao well, or they wouldn't let him off easily. So the two happily began their romantic relationship. Qian Yu is a qualified boyfriend who dotes on Li Zhaozhao even more. Although the two sometimes argue, both actively work to resolve issues. After graduation, with an uncertain future ahead, Qian Yu immediately proposed to Li Zhaozhao. The house and car in the family are all under Li Zhaozhao's name, giving her a strong sense of security. 2 years after marriage, Li Zhaozhao gave birth to a pair of twins, a boy and a girl. Pei Huaizhi also felt that his time was running out. As soon as the twins learned to speak, they pointed at Pei Huaizhi's location, as if they could see him. Mom, there's an uncle over there. Pei Huaizhi was very surprised. Li Zhaozhao turned her head to look. There's nothing there. Pei Huaizhi made a shushing gesture to the baby. 5. The twins instantly quieted down, when suddenly a gust of wind came from nowhere, blowing the window open. A voice sounded in Pei Huaizhi's ear. Time's up, you should return now. At the same moment, Qian Yu pushed the door open and entered. He held Li Zhaozhao tightly in his arms, then planted a kiss on each of the two little ones' faces. Darling, I love you. Pei Huaizhi looked over reluctantly, destined never to love Li Zhaozhao. He was about to vanish, disappearing forever with the wind, while Li Zhaozhao's wonderful life had only just begun. Story 2. My fiancé stole the poor student's guaranteed admission quota. He hired someone to break the student's legs, causing him to miss the college entrance examination. 8 years later, the poor student made a stunning comeback from a desperate situation, achieved great success, and took ruthless revenge on everyone. My fiancé lost everything. He dragged me to jump off a building and shouted at the poor student, don't you like Guanli, a lame toad trying to eat swan meat? Ha ha ha. In your next life. Li Qi was terrified. He limped over, reaching out with his fingertips just barely grazing the fluttering hem of my white dress. When I opened my eyes again, I was back in my 17th year. As long as you kneel down obediently and bark like a dog 3 times, this 30,000 yuan is yours. When Dongxing stuck his hands in his trouser pockets and threw 3 stacks of banknotes in front of Li Xiao, the wealthy kids beside him burst into laughter. Doesn't your mother have uremia and urgently need money? Come on, let's see how filial you really are, you big dutiful son. Quick, bark. If you do, you'll get the money to save your mother's life. When Dongxing picked up a small stone from the ground and threw it at Li Xiao, as if teasing a stray dog on the street, the thin and lanky teenager stood alone in the middle of the crowd. His body trembled violently, and his fists were clenched tightly. His left knee slowly bent, and it seemed about to touch the ground. My heart clenched suddenly. Stop, what are you doing? All eyes turned towards me. Only Li Xiao froze, his back straightened, and he didn't turn around. When Dongxing jumped off the steps and walked up to me in a few strides, he smiled indifferently and said, Li, why are you here? When Dongxing and I were engaged due to a family-arranged marriage, but our personalities were poles apart, and we weren't even ordinary friends in private. We just showed each other some courtesy on the surface at various gatherings. In my previous life, I studied in an orderly manner and went to the music room to practice the piano after school. I was completely immersed in my own world, not caring about who Wen Dongxing hung out with. I had no idea that he would bully our classmates like this. On the first day after being reborn, I asked the butler to investigate Li Zhao's background. It turned out that Li Zhao's mother used to work as a maid in the Wen family. They had lived in the basement of the Wen family for 10 years. Li Xiao was smart, excellent, and sensible, which inevitably made him a subject of comparison with Wen Dongxing. Over time, Wen Dongxing developed a hatred for Li Xiao. Every time Li Xiao's father, Wen Dongxing, beat him, Wen Dongxing would find an opportunity to humiliate Li Xiao and vent his anger on him. He would throw away Li Xiao's school bag, tear up his books, burn his thighs with cigarette butts, and prevent him from eating. Li Xiao endured all the grievances because he felt sorry for his mother's difficult job hunting Situation. It wasn't until Aunt Lee suffered from uremia, couldn't work anymore, and was fired by the Wen family. Now, Li Xiao had to study, tutor his classmates to earn medical expenses, and take care of his mother at the same time. I remembered that in my previous life, after the school learned about the situation, it organized a charity donation. I donated 100,000 yuan. Li Xiao wrote an IOU to everyone, and I received one too, but I didn't pay much attention in class. He was like a gray shadow. His presence was extremely low except when his name appeared on the honor roll. As a result, I didn't notice his absence until 3 weeks after he dropped out of school. Later, I heard that Aunt Lee had passed away. Li Xiao returned to his hometown's high school and took the college entrance examination a year later. During my senior year in college, I received the money Li Xiao repaid. These were all the few interactions I had with him. After that, I saw him in the media. The media called Li Xiao the lame billionaire and the disabled upstart. It seemed that no matter how great his achievements were, he couldn't get rid of the label of disability. After he achieved success, his first thing to do was to take revenge on the Wen family. It was then that I learned about the crimes Wen Dongxing had committed. He hired someone to break Li Xiao's legs, causing him to miss the college entrance examination, and obstructed Aunt Li's kidney transplant, leading to her tragic death. In this new life, I will prevent Wen Dongxing from committing these crimes and change everyone's destiny. I raised my phone in front of Wen Dongxing. I recorded everything just now. Do you want to get beaten by your father? Wen Dongxing was most afraid of his father on weekdays. Sure enough, his face turned pale instantly. Guanlei, since when have you been so nosy? Cut the crap. Don't let me see you bullying classmates again. I stepped forward and grabbed Li Xiao's hand. The teenager was slightly taken aback but let me pull him outside. His palm was cold, and he was still wearing thin clothes even though the early autumn wind was already a bit chilly. My heart ached. Behind the teaching building, I stopped and took out a bank card, stuffing it into his hand. There's 500,000 yuan in this card. Use it to treat your mother. If it's not enough, just ask me for more. Dialysis cost about 10,000 yuan per month, and the kidney transplant surgery cost around 300,000 yuan. This amount of money was enough for him to make it through the college entrance examination. Li Xiao was thin and stood as straight as a small poplar. His skin was fair, with a pale tint from malnutrition. His eyes fell on the bank card, and his Adam's apple rolled. Then he looked up at me and asked, "Why are you helping me?" They were in the wrong, and I couldn't stand it. Besides, you didn't do anything wrong and shouldn't suffer like this. After a pause, I added, I wouldn't stand by and watch no matter which classmate Wen Dongxing bullied. The setting sun fell like molten gold, dyeing his eyes a clear amber color. He clenched the bank card tightly and said, "I'll pay you back as soon as possible. I'm not in a hurry." I believed in his character. Li Xiao slightly lowered his eyes, and his long eyelashes covered the emotions in his eyes. In my previous life, when Wen Dongxing dragged me to jump off the building, he said that Li Xiao liked me, but now, as we stood so close, his silence and reserve made me feel no hint of affection at all. Perhaps it was just Wen Dongxing's delusion when he went crazy. "Aren't you going to practice the piano?" Li Xiao suddenly asked. I was stunned. I went to the school music classroom to practice the piano at 6:30 every day. But how did he know? Li Xiao started walking towards the piano room. "I'll walk you there." It turned out that the classroom where Li Xiao tutored his classmates was next to the piano room. I was slightly taken aback and blurted out, "Will I disturb you guys?" Li Xiao turned his head to look at me, his gaze calm. "No, your piano playing is very beautiful." He said it casually, but my cheeks heated up. He added with a faint smile at the corner of his mouth, "You also look beautiful when you play the piano, just like an elegant white swan." This was the first time I saw him smile. His smile was faint but captivating. Inappropriately, I suddenly remembered the words Wen Dongxing had said, "A lame toad trying to eat swan meat." I immediately felt embarrassed and looked away. When we arrived at the piano room, I realized that his tutoring student was Chen Tian. How could I have forgotten her? She was one of Wen Dongxing's lackeys, always fawning over him. In my previous life, she always liked to hint to me that she had a close relationship with Wen Dongxing, but I didn't care. Wen Dongxing and I were just in a business-arranged marriage, and I didn't care what he did. However, I vaguely remembered that there had been rumors of puppy love between Chen Tian and Li Xiao. The rumors were so detailed that the school eventually suppressed them because of the bad influence, but as a result, Li Xiao lost his guaranteed admission quota. At that time, I just treated it as gossip. Now that I thought about it, Wen Dongxing was most likely behind it. Chen Tian crossed her arms and pouted, complaining, "You're 15 minutes late. I'll deduct 50% of today's tutoring fee." Then she sized me up and down and asked, "Why did you two come Together, enough. Li Xiao walked into the classroom. Let's start. Chen Tian stamped her foot and followed him into the classroom. I sat in front of the piano but couldn't calm down. I practiced the fingering several times but was still very irritable. Finally, I slammed the piano cover shut, took out my books, and walked to the next door classroom. Where were you? I want to listen too. Chen Tian had her feet propped up on the desk and was playing games on her phone. Li Xiao was writing on the blackboard at the podium. They were far apart, and this scene didn't seem to match the rumored ambiguous relationship at all. Chen Tian glanced at me. What are you doing here? Li Xiao took his eyes off the blackboard and briefly met my gaze. I'll finish this problem, and then we're done. He wrote out the steps of the simplest physics problem one by one, then turned to Chen Tian and said seriously, this is the last day I'll tutor you. During this time, your grades haven't improved. You'd better find someone else. Chen Tian panicked and put her feet down from the desk, throwing her phone aside. Hey, don't you want the money? Money is important, Li Xiao said unhurriedly as he packed his books. But my reputation is equally important. You're a man. What's the big deal if I touch you? Chen Tian kicked the desk. You have to continue tutoring me, or Brother Xing will teach you a lesson. Li Xiao clenched his fists, and the veins on the back of his hands bulged. I said coldly, when Dongxing wants to touch him, he has to get past me first. Chen Tian left in a huff, threatening to make me pay. I shrugged indifferently. Fine, I'll wait. Li Xiao smiled, stood at the podium with his hands on the desk, and asked, you helped me again. Why? See injustice on the road and draw your sword to help. There's no need for so many reasons. In a good mood, I sat down and looked at the blackboard. How about you tutor me? Li Xiao suddenly laughed. Should I tutor you? Or should you tutor me? I almost forgot that we took turns occupying the first place spot in the grade. He excelled in physics, while I was slightly better at English. If I did well in the English composition, I could easily surpass Li Xiao. Then you tutor me in physics, and I'll tutor you in English. Li Xiao's eyes curved into smiles. Okay. He pulled over a chair, sat next to me, took out his physics workbook, and placed it between us. We were so close that I could smell the faint scent of laundry detergent on him, mixed with a touch of the fresh smell unique to teenagers. It made my heart flutter slightly. Feeling a bit awkward, I turned my head slightly and coughed. Why don't you stand at the podium? Li Xiao turned to look at me. His eyes were clear, but his breath was scorching. If I'm closer to you, I can tell at a glance if you can't keep up when I explain too quickly. His tone was serious, making me feel like I was overthinking. I secretly chided myself for being spineless, sat up straight, and pointed at the big question. Let's start then. Li Xiao's pen pointed at the question. The originally complex formulas and figures became much easier to understand. I quickly became focused and unconsciously entered a state of flow. Before I knew it, it was already 7:30, it was dark, and the security guard came to shoo us away. Let's go. What do you usually have for dinner? I picked up my books and asked casually. Li Xiao's hand paused slightly as he packed his bag. I go home and cook. I eat with my mom. He smiled calmly. There aren't many dishes at home today. I'll treat you to a meal another day and let you try my cooking. He had smiled many times today, each time exuding youthful vitality, making it impossible to look away. My heart skipped a beat. I suddenly realized that suffering hadn't effaced his kindness and enthusiasm. Instead, it made his optimism even more precious and touching. Why didn't I notice this person at all in my previous life? The next day, Li Xiao gave me a jasmine-shaped felt flower. The craftsmanship was extremely delicate. The petals were layered and looked incredibly lifelike. My mom made it. She told me I must bring it to you. Aunt Li didn't have a job and was bedridden. She earned a meager income by live streaming and making handicrafts. I just didn't expect Aunt Li's craftsmanship to be so good. It was almost a work of art. I was about to reach out and take it when a discordant voice rang out. Yo, what cheap thing is this? When Dongxing came over and curled his lip. Trash worth a few dozen yuan. How dare you? Give it away. Only the things I give are worthy of Li. Li Xiao's eyes fell on the Hermes charm on my school bag. It was a genuine leather accessory, costing tens of thousands of yuan. It was a gift from Wen Dongxing. He insisted on hanging it on my school bag, and I just let him. A flash of inferiority crossed Li Xiao's eyes. He curled his fingers, covering the felt flower with his palm as if he wanted to take it back. I quickly took the felt flower. Thank you, I like it very much. Then I took off the little horse charm and threw it at Wen Dongxing. Here, take it back. Wen Dongxing's face turned livid. What do you mean? I hung the felt flower on the zipper of my school bag. It swayed gently. I touched it, and the texture was as soft as a kitten's fur. The corners of Li Xiao's tightly closed mouth loosened slightly, curving into a small arc. The next moment, someone snatched my school bag from my hand. Wen Dongxing tore off the felt flower, threw it on the ground, and stomped on it fiercely, crushing and twisting it. The snow-white felt flower instantly turned into a dirty mess. "Are you crazy?" I exclaimed. Li Xiao's expression was surprisingly calm, but his fists were clenched tightly, with veins bulging. The next second, he swung his fist at Wen Dongxing's face. "Don't fight." I hugged Li Xiao tightly from behind. The teenager's waist was slender but full of explosive power. He trembled violently in my arms. It took all my strength to stop him. Once Li Xiao got into a fight, his chance of guaranteed admission would be completely gone. At this critical moment, he couldn't ruin his future because of a moment of impulse. When Dongxing looked ferocious and continued to shout, "Go ahead and hit me. Do you have the guts to hit me in the face? I know you like Guanlei. Look at yourself, a poor kid with no money or power. How dare you covet my fiancé?" Li Xiao's body stiffened suddenly, as if he had been drenched in a bucket of cold water from head to toe. He lowered his fist, broke free from my arms around his waist, squatted down, and picked up the dirty felt flower. The homeroom teacher walked into the classroom and coughed. "What's going on? It's time for class." Li Xiao walked silently to the last row of the classroom and sat down. During the whole class, I was distracted and looked back at him several times. I secretly sent him a message: "Ignore that crazy guy. I really like the felt flower. Please apologize to your aunt for me. I couldn't protect the flower, and her good intentions were trampled on." The teenager kept his head down, expressionless. After seeing the message, his expression softened for a moment. I turned back and met Wen Dongxing's sinister gaze. The second period is a physical education class. In this class, we were practicing tennis, and the teacher asked us to find our own partners. There are 31 students in our class, so there will always be someone left without a partner. Li Xiao silently walked up to the PE teacher. I stepped forward and grabbed him. "Don't go, we'll be in a group." Wen Dongxing, who was walking towards me, gritted his teeth. He ran over and slapped my hand away. "Guanlei, why do you have to stay with this brat? Are you determined to go against me?" People really do laugh when they're speechless. What does he mean? Does he suspect that I'm getting close to Li Xiao just to compete with him? Where did he get his confidence from? If he doesn't have a mirror, can't he even take a piss and look at himself? Chen Tian trotted over and smiled sweetly. "Young Master Wen, let's be in a group. You're the best at tennis. Teach me, please." She was wearing a pink short skirt, full of youthful vitality. She deliberately pushed out her chest and leaned against Wen Dongxing's arm. Wen Dongxing frowned slightly and gave her an impatient glance. Then he looked at Li Xiao. "How about we have a doubles match? The loser has to bark like a dog. Do you dare?" Malice came rushing towards us. Tennis is the only thing Wen Dongxing is good at. It's obvious that he wants to embarrass Li Xiao, who wants to compete with you. I pulled Li Xiao and tried to leave. "Let's have the match then." Li Xiao clenched my palm tightly with his other hand. He weighed the tennis racket in his hand. He lowered his eyes to look at me and said in a low voice, "Don't worry, I'm here. When you serve later, try to hit the ball towards the far corner to hold Chen Tian back. Leave the rest to me." His eyes were determined, and I suddenly felt full of confidence. The whistle for the match blew at the beginning. When Dongxing looked smug, thinking he had the upper hand, but soon he was thrown into confusion by Li Xiao's rapid offensive like a torrential rain. Chen Tian was held back by me and lost her composure. She couldn't even catch a few balls. She even bumped into Wen Dongxing while trying to catch a ball and was harshly scolded by him. The more Wen Dongxing played, the angrier he became. He wanted to turn the tide, but he was always accurately predicted by Li Xiao. Finally, after a beautiful smash by Li Xiao, the match ended. When Dongxing stood there, his lips trembling, and his face turned terrifyingly pale. "How can you be so good?" I caught my breath and looked at Li Xiao with admiration. Li Xiao smiled softly. "I used to let him win." Li Xiao's excellence is the original sin in Wen Dongxing's eyes. Once his grades surpassed Wen Dongxing's, troubles would follow one after another. His pants were stuck with super glue, the hot water was turned off while he was taking a shower, and there were safety pins hidden in his school uniform. Over time, Li Xiao learned to hide his abilities. He would rather endure the bullying himself than lose his mother's hard-won job. Later, when Dongxing became obsessed with tennis, and Li Xiao became his practice partner, as long as when Dongxing won a game, he would be in a good mood. On those days, Li Xiao's life would be much easier. So, Li Xiao was used to letting Wen Dongxing win. My heart ached. Suffering is often a catalyst for growth. No wonder Li Xiao is more mature and reserved than his peers. Does Wen Dongxing have to bark like a dog now? Some classmates whispered, enjoying the excitement without caring about the consequences. Wen Dongxing gave them a cold glance and threw his tennis racket at them. Blood gushed out from the other person's forehead. Everyone fell silent, and no one dared to provoke him again. Li Xiao smiled indifferently. "Young Master Wen, if you can't bring yourself to bark like a dog, You can just give me 50,000 yuan. When Dongxing cared about his face, he transferred the money with a cold face using his phone. Consider it a reward for the dog. When Dongxing's eyes shifted between me and Li Xiao, filled with extreme malice, suddenly, he grabbed my elbow. Come here, I have something to say. My other hand was tightly held by Li Xiao. I turned to look at Li Xiao. It's okay. He doesn't dare to do anything to me. Li Xiao slowly let go of my hand, but he still followed behind us. Keeping a distance of a few meters, I followed Wen Dongxing to the corner of the teaching building, and he stopped. Spit it out if you have something to say. I was impatient. He stared at me fiercely and said word by word, Guanlei, you're back too, aren't you? My head buzzed. I was completely stunned. What are you talking about? I don't understand. I remained calm. You've always been aloof and indifferent to everyone. Why are you suddenly showing concern for a poor student? I can't stand it when you bully your classmates. Is there a problem with that? You always go to the piano room after school and never take a detour to the sports equipment room. Why did you suddenly show up there that day? Do you own the school? I can go wherever I want. Do I need to tell you? When Dongxing suddenly leaned closer to me, with his hands in his pockets, a few months ago, we went on a vacation by the sea. You sneaked out at night and almost fell into the sea. If I hadn't found out in time, you would have been in danger. How are you going to repay me for that? That really did happen, but it didn't happen a few months ago. It happens soon in the future when we're 25 years old. Our memories of 7 or 8 years ago are blurry. He's testing me. I pretended to be confused and a little annoyed at being offended. Are you out of your mind? Who went on a vacation by the sea with you? If you keep talking nonsense like this, I'll tell my dad. When Dongxing slowly stood up straight, which university do you want to go to? I want to stay in City S. University has always been my first choice, I answered matter-of-factly. In fact, in my previous life, at the last moment of filling out the college application, I somehow filled in City N later. I really liked City N after graduation, despite my family's dissuasion. I bought a house and settled down in City N. It was precisely because of the long distance that when Dongxing and I hadn't gotten married yet. When Dongxing tried to find a flaw in my eyes, I remained calm and didn't even blink more than usual. In fact, my heart was about to explode. This pervert, how could he be reborn too? In my previous life, he dared to drag me to death with him. If he knew that I was reborn too, I don't know how crazy he would go. I'm afraid that if he gets impulsive, he'll take a knife and kill us all. Guanlei, you're my fiancé. I have no feelings for you, but that doesn't mean I can tolerate you cheating on me. Pay attention to your distance from other boys. Take care of yourself. I pretended to be impatient and turned around to run towards Li Xiao, who was waiting at the corner. My heart was about to jump out of my throat. After school, despite Li Xiao's refusal, I insisted on sending him home in the car. I chattered on and on, telling him to be sure to pay attention to his safety. I even regarded myself as his benefactor and coerced him to move into my house. After all, the guaranteed admission exam is in a week, and Aunt Li should be able to match with a suitable kidney source during this time. I don't want anything to go wrong. In my previous life, Aunt Li waited until a suitable kidney source was available. Li Xiao sold the house and got 300,000 yuan, preparing to have the surgery for his aunt. Unexpectedly, when Dongxing interfered and snatched the kidney source, Aunt Li had been waiting for this kidney for 3 years. When there was finally hope, it was dashed. She was disheartened. When she walked out of the hospital, she didn't notice the vehicle and was hit and killed by a speeding car. Li Xiao was heartbroken and went to settle the score with Wen Dongxing alone. He was brutally beaten and had his right leg broken by a group of bodyguards, missed the college entrance examination, and became disabled for life. In this life, with my intervention, I hope all these tragedies won't happen. I didn't mention other things. I just persuaded Li Xiao to move in with me and said that I would arrange everything. As I was talking, I noticed that Li Xiao had a smile in the corner of his eyes and was looking at me quietly. I punched his arm. Are you listening to what I'm saying? My voice carried a hint of coquetry. Even I was surprised by myself. I quickly looked out the window. I ran my hand through my hair. I opened the water bottle and took a sip of water strategically. Sure enough, when people are embarrassed, they pretend to be busy. The car turned and twisted. It drove into a narrow and dark alley. The houses were closely packed together, and the light was dim. The walls were wet, exuding a stale and musty smell. I looked around, filled with worry. How could a patient recover in such an environment? Li Qi's house was even more barren. The house was very small, and the shabby furniture seemed to fall apart at any moment. The air of poverty hit me. My determination to take them away became even stronger. Aunt Li heard the commotion and came out of the room. She was thin and haggard. Her long hair was casually tied up and fixed with a sharp clip. When she saw me, her eyes were filled with surprise. She quickly spread a clean cloth on the sofa and greeted me somewhat nervously. Girl, sit here, don't mind it. Li Qi smiled, put down his school bag, and went into the kitchen to cook. Soon, 3 dishes and 1 soup were served: scrambled eggs with tomatoes, vegetable tofu soup, and stir-fried beef with loofah. The taste was light but very delicious. I didn't expect his cooking skills to be so good. He's simply the perfect candidate for a husband. Bah, bah, bah. What am I thinking? Feeling ashamed, I pretended to be okay and buried my head in my rice. Lee couldn't stop thanking me. Girl, thank you for your help. You're so kind-hearted. I quickly waved my hand. Li Xiao and I are classmates. It's only right that we help each other. Li Xiao served me a bowl of soup and looked at me tenderly. Lee continued. Last time, Xiao Xiao specifically asked me to make a jasmine flower and said he wanted to give it to you. He told me that your nickname is Jasmine. When I saw you today, you really are as fresh and beautiful as a jasmine flower. I was stunned and instinctively looked at Li Xiao. Only my family knows my nickname, even when Dongxing doesn't know it. When I received the jasmine felt flower that day, I thought it was a coincidence. The tips of his ears quickly turned a light red, and he picked up a chopstick of food and put it in Aunt Li's bowl. Eat quickly. Stop chatting. The food is going to get cold. After the meal, it was time for me to leave. Li Xiao saw me out. I still couldn't help asking him, how did you know my nickname? I'm afraid you'll think I'm a pervert if I tell you. He was a little embarrassed. The street lamp on the street cast a dim yellow light. It stretched our shadows long. I looked up with a smile and tilted my head. After a long while, he summoned up the courage to say, 3 years ago, on your birthday, you posted on INS at 10:28 p.m., your cousin replied below, happy birthday, little Jasmine. I widened my eyes in surprise. You even know my INS. Li Xiao's Adam's apple rolled, and his voice was tense and hoarse. I've liked you for a long time. I got into the car in a daze. It turned out that what Wen Dongxing said about Li Xiao liking me was actually true, and I didn't notice it at all. He was the one who confessed, but my cheeks were burning red. A message from Li Xiao appeared on my phone. Did I scare you? I didn't know how to reply. I typed a few words, then deleted them. I typed a few more words and deleted them again. Li Xiao sent a cute dog emoji with a wronged expression. I won't harass you. If you feel disturbed, I'll keep my distance. I'll pay you back the money as soon as possible. Me? No, that's not what I meant. My heart was pounding like a deer. After thinking for a long time, I slowly typed a few words. So when did you start liking me? It turned out that as early as when he was 12 years old, he started paying attention to me when he followed Wen Dongxing to watch my piano competition. This attention gradually turned into liking over time. I never expected that it would take me a lifetime to find out. Li Xiao and I started dating secretly. He and Aunt Li also moved into my house. My dad started from scratch and worked his way up from the bottom. He sympathized with Li Xiao's experience. He told Li Xiao to treat this as his own home and not to feel burdened. However, regarding the matter of breaking off the engagement with Wen Dongxing, my dad said he needed to observe a little more and wasn't willing to agree for now. After all, Wen Dongxing always put on a different face in front of the elders. It's not surprising that my dad didn't believe me. Soon, it was time for the guaranteed admission exam. The examination room was set up in our school. Li Xiao and I, along with the top students from other schools, were competing for the only guaranteed admission quota. Li Xiao was the first in the city in this mock exam, and he had a good chance of getting one of the quotas. The bell for collecting the papers rang. The invigilator looked serious. Everyone stay in your seats and don't move. The dean of students rushed in and walked straight towards Li Xiao. Under the confused gazes of everyone, he reached out his hand and took out a cheat sheet from Li Xiao's school uniform pocket. The dean of students immediately glared angrily. Some students reported that you cheated. I didn't believe it at first, but it turned out to be true. This is a citywide joint exam, and you've damaged the reputation of our school. Outside the glass window, there were crowds of students watching the excitement. When Dongxing stood at the back with his hands in his pockets, a smug smile on his face. Sure enough, it was his doing. In the examination room, the top students from other schools whispered to each other, isn't this the first in grade in school C? It turns out he got his grades by cheating. Tisk, TSK, there are all kinds of people these days. It seems that this so-called first place isn't all that great. Yeah, he even dared to cheat in the guaranteed admission exam. Doesn't he know that this will also affect the college entrance examination? Sure enough, grades can filter out intelligence, but they can't filter out character. My eyes were red, and I stood up abruptly. Li Xiao would never cheat. In contrast, Li Xiao was calm and composed. He just turned his head to look at me, his gaze full of reassurance. He said calmly, then call the police. Let the police handle everything. The atmosphere in the examination room was so oppressive that it was suffocating. The students who were watching the excitement had been cleared out. The police arrived at the scene soon. After checking the surveillance footage, it was confirmed that from the moment Li Xiao entered the examination room until the papers were collected, he behaved properly and never took out that cheat sheet at all. The dean of students was still relentless. Bringing a cheat sheet into the examination room is regarded as cheating. This is what the school has always stipulated. This is a matter of principle and cannot be tolerated. It's strange, aren't teachers in their own school usually partial to their own students? Why is the dean of students acting so unyielding and impartial? The cheat sheet was placed on the podium desk. Li Zhao's voice was calm. If this cheat sheet was really brought into the examination room by me, the handwriting on it must be mine. And there must be my fingerprints on it. But I haven't touched that piece of paper from start to finish. I request a fingerprint and handwriting identification to prove my innocence with evidence. The dean of students' face turned red and white in turn, and fine beads of sweat appeared on his forehead. For such a small matter, who will do a fingerprint identification for you? Stop making a fuss. The fact is right in front of you. Just admit it. He was certain that students were easy to bully. At this moment, his tone actually sounded a bit guilty. I was so angry that I felt like my lungs were about to explode. According to the law, if someone falsely accuses and frames others with the intention of having them face criminal prosecution, and if the circumstances are serious, they can be sentenced to fixed-term imprisonment of not more than 3 years, criminal detention, or public surveillance. Moreover, this concerns Li Zhao's future. Can you afford to take responsibility for this? The principal also rushed over in a hurry since it concerned a young student's future and reputation. The police decided to handle the matter carefully. The cheat sheet was put into a sealed bag and taken back to the police station for identification. Don't be angry, you look like a pufferfish when you're all puffed up, Li Xiao said with a smile, pinching my cheek. This is clearly a frame-up, it's too much. I was so angry that I waved my fist. Yes, I know, it must be Wen Dongxing's doing. Yes, I know, then why are you so calm? This concerns your future. Li Zhao's eyes curved into a smile, and he said softly but firmly, I know everything. I won't let him succeed. The sunlight shone on his profile. His amber eyes showed a determination and calmness that didn't match his age. When Dongxing still found out about my relationship with Li Xiao, he was furious and said I'd regret it. I didn't understand. In my previous life, I didn't say anything when he was fooling around with Chen Tian. Why couldn't he stand it when I was in a relationship? When Dongxing's father came to our house in person, pretending to be magnanimous? It's normal for young people to fall in love. They're still young and their minds aren't settled yet. When the time is right, they'll naturally understand the importance of being well-matched. Dear-in-law, don't be confused when the time comes. My father silently clinked glasses with Mr. Wen and didn't say a word, but I knew that the business between the two families was gradually being separated, because my father already knew that when Dongxing had smashed Li Zhao's original home and sent people to the hospital, but they couldn't find Aunt Li, I had made all the arrangements, so he couldn't hurt them at all. This made my father extremely angry, and he promised me that he would never let me marry Wen Dongxing. I didn't let Wen Dongxing off either. I secretly sent all the evidence of his violent behavior, cheating, and his habits of smoking, drinking, and going to bars to his father. As a result, he was almost beaten to death and came to school every day with bruises all over his body. Even when Chen Tian went to comfort him, she got slapped by him and transferred to another school crying. A suitable kidney source was found for Aunt Li, and she was waiting for the surgery. The police investigation results also came out. Only the dean's fingerprints were on the note, and the handwriting wasn't Li Zhao's either. He was cleared of suspicion, participated in the independent enrollment interview, and was successfully admitted in advance. The dean was fired by the school. Until the end, he didn't reveal who was behind it. It was said that he took a sum of money and slunk back to his hometown. After being successfully admitted in advance, Li Xiao stopped going to school and stayed at home to take care of Aunt Li. He also sorted out my study notes, by the way. Maybe I won't go to University A, I'll go to University N. With you, he said. The computer science department at University A ranks first in the country. What was he thinking? Don't be so love-struck, I said. As soon as the words came out, I suddenly realized something. I hadn't even taken the college entrance examination yet. How did he know I was going to University N? Li Xiao hugged my waist and buried his head in my neck like a child. I want to be love-struck. I just want to go to University N with you. My heart suddenly started beating faster. Li Xiao, you were reborn too, right? The hand around my waist froze noticeably, then tightened gradually, making it a bit hard for me to breathe. His throat seemed to be blocked by something, and he replied hoarsely, yes, the scene from my previous life, where Li Xiao limped and rushed over desperately when Dongxing dragged me off the building, flashed through my mind again. I forced a cheerful smile. Everything is better now. We'll be fine forever. Li Xiao pursed his lips, his voice choking a little. don't worry, in this life, I won't let anyone hurt you. He had been practicing throwing knives recently. Sometimes when I got home, I would be startled by the target full of sharp knives. Li Xiao said that if it weren't illegal to possess guns, he would be practicing shooting now. I was speechless. On the day the college entrance examination ended, my family held a dinner party, just my parents, grandparents, and maternal grandparents, unexpectedly, while I was in the bathroom. I was knocked out. When I woke up, I was on that rooftop again, and a familiar and terrifying feeling washed over me when Dongxing lifted my chin with the tip of a knife, his face twisted in a ferocious expression. No matter how well that guy hides, can you escape? Do you think I'm blind to your little tricks? I stared at him intently, really unable to understand. What was his problem with Li Xiao? Why did he have to push things to this do-or-die situation? He cares about you so much. Do you think he'd trade his life for yours? You're crazy. I was so angry that my whole body trembled. I instinctively glanced at the edge of the rooftop. Below was a bottomless abyss. A wave of dizziness hit me, and my legs went weak. After being reborn, why couldn't I still escape death since I was going to die anyway? I started cursing. When Dongxing, you're a complete coward. You only play dirty tricks behind people's backs. You're incompetent and filthy. You're nothing but garbage. If I'm going to die, I'll take you down with me. When Dongxing was hit where it hurt, he pressed the tip of the knife against my throat. Shut up, you reckless woman. If you say another word, I'll lay. An anxious shout came from the stairwell. Li Xiao appeared in front of us, looking worried. Behind him came the police, as well as my parents and Mr. When Li Xiao raised his hand, trying to calm Wen Dongxing down. Wen Dongxing was highly agitated and hooked his elbow around my neck. Jump off from here. Trade your life for hers. Mr. Wen was so angry that his face turned purple. He roared, you wretch. With that, he rushed over to stop him when Dongxing suddenly pulled me to the edge of the rooftop. In the chaos, my foot dislodged some gravel. The gravel rolled down the tall building. Fear almost choked me. Don't move, don't move. Li Xiao was sweating profusely. I'll take her place, Mr. Wen was shaking with anger, and he said in great pain, what's wrong with you? Why did you do this? You're bringing shame on our family. When Dongxing's face twisted violently. Why, since I was a child, when did you ever approve of me? In your eyes, other people's children are always better. Even the son of our family's maid, you could praise to the skies. But no matter how hard I tried, all I got were your cold looks and belittlement. I've always lived in the shadow of others. Mr. Wen was furious. Nonsense. The fact is that you're worse than others. I'm right, aren't I? I've been strict with you for your own good, hoping you'd become successful. But look at the disgraceful thing you've done. Come down right now. While Wen Dongxing was arguing with his father, Li Xiao was slowly approaching us. When Dongxing shouted angrily, I've had enough. Don't hold me to your standards. You never treated me as your son at all. Just as a tool for you to show off. You ungrateful son. How dare you talk back? Let me teach you a lesson. Teach me a lesson. In your dreams, when Li Xiao was only 3 steps away from me, he took out a short knife from his pocket, threw it with all his might, and it accurately stabbed into Wen Dongxing's left eye. Wen Dongxing let out a scream, covered his face with one hand, and blood gushed out between his fingers. He instinctively fell backward. His other hand still held me tightly. In an instant, half of my body hung outside the rooftop. Li Xiao reacted quickly and hugged my waist tightly, pulling me back onto the rooftop. Mr. Wen rushed forward in a panic and frantically grabbed Wen Dongxing's arm. The police also stepped forward to help. Wen Dongxing's body was mostly hanging outside the rooftop, teetering on the edge. He looked at his father disappointedly and broke free from the restraint. In my next life, I never want to be your son again. With that, he fell straight down like a kite with a broken string. Mr. Wen couldn't believe his eyes. Moments later, his legs gave way, and he fell to his knees in despair, pounding the ground with his fists. Heart-rending cries echoed on the rooftop. My son, my only son. Li Xiao held me as I trembled, gently patting my back. It's okay, it's all over now. The farce finally came to an end. Our family completely cut off all business cooperation with the Wen family. At least surgery was a success. There was no rejection reaction, and she recovered well after the operation. I still went to university and under my insistence that he not be overly love-struck, Li Xiao went to university A. The high-speed rail between the two places only took an hour, but he was still unhappy. A long-distance relationship for a whole 4 years. It's not that bad. You can focus on your studies, I said. I've already studied all this in my last life. I just want to be with you now. Then hurry up with your startup. My dad still hasn't given his approval. Oh, right. Li Xiao slapped his forehead during the summer vacation. He had already written a business plan, without Wen Dongxing's Interference. I believed he would build his business empire even faster. In the first week of school, at the freshman welcome party, I performed a piano solo. When the piece ended, the audience erupted in thunderous applause. Li Xiao was waiting off stage, holding a bouquet of pure white and elegant jasmine flowers. I lifted the hem of my dress and walked towards him. A senior from the computer science department stepped forward before Li Xiao and handed me a bouquet of red roses, looking very attentive. Freshman, please accept my flowers. The senior turned his head and said to Li Xiao in a bad-tempered tone, there's an order of first come, first served. Li Xiao was so angry that he laughed. First come, first served, the senior said forcefully. Are you a freshman? Do you want to get kicked out of school? Before Li Xiao could lose his temper, I quickly walked over and took the jasmine flowers. Then, in full view of everyone, I stood on tiptoe and kissed Li Xiao on the cheek. Li Xiao looked as proud as a cat that had been petted and gave the senior a smug glance. We're already together, senior. The onlookers let out a sigh. Ah, such a beautiful freshman is already taken. I thought I had an advantage being in the same department, but now there's no chance. Well, I've had my fill of dog food today. The senior left with a red-faced and green-faced expression. On the way back, Li Xiao kept muttering, I'm worried, I'm really worried, I'm going to retake the exam and get into university N. I held his hand and laughed heartily. During the 4 years of college, Li Xiao took the high-speed rail to see me every week without fail. He accumulated a thick stack of train tickets. He wouldn't go to bed until he had a video call with me every night. After graduating from college, his startup was successful, and he became a rising business tycoon early on. I chose to continue my postgraduate studies. He was extremely anxious. Let's get married first. I can't wait any longer. The grand and romantic wedding arrived as scheduled. I walked towards Li Xiao, who was dressed in a suit, wearing a white wedding dress. The MC announced loudly, let's wish this couple to be together forever. Everyone smiled and said in unison. Li Xiao couldn't hold back anymore and kissed me deeply. Time seemed to stand still. Reborn in this life, I finally found my own happiness.